All right, let's see if YouTube likes us today. Yes, it does. And good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 216. This is History shows that no sexual orientation is normal. And this comes from the Cynical Historian. This video came out last year in January. It has about 47,000 views, and this is a channel that has 181,000 subs, so he's pretty big. And he likes to talk about all kinds of wonderful things. He references another YouTuber that links to... Oh boy. We'll get to that topic because it's a little complicated. But we're going to be talking about sexuality and a little bit of gender and Plato for some reason, at least for the first few minutes. I don't know about the rest, but we'll find out. Plato is one of those things that I like referencing just because I studied it like first year philosophy, and I read all the dialogues and had a lot of good talks with other people in university who actually knew their stuff. So that was pretty beneficial for me if you ever wanted to study philosophy or argue or learn about the ways of the ancient Greeks and all the wonderful ideas that came from there. And Plato is kind of the heart of all that. So
I'm more of an Aristotle fan myself.
Oh, I've got his basic works just on my desk over there. Studying him is like eating a cake that's made of bricks. It's just, you can do it.
Wonderful.
Delicious.
You can do it. It'll just take you a very long time, and you'll probably break your teeth in the process. But it's okay.
Or you need to be very autistic.
Yeah. If you're laser focused, you can probably go through about 10 pages a day if you want to understand Aristotle.
Yeah. As not just skimming the pages, but really comprehending.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Imagine the punctuation, the final period of a sentence comes down 1.5 pages after the sentence begins, and that maps out 1/4.
And that's a good translation.
Yeah. I agree. Because that's important. That's important, and because then now I take a break and look at this at least 3-dimensional thing the text gave me. And look at it and process it and rotate it in my mind until I understand, and then I go to the next sentence.
It's that dense. Yeah,
I love that.
It's not as like strange or weird as like Heidegger or hard to wrap your brain around like Kant at times, but it's just enough to make you go, "What the heck was he talking about 10 minutes ago?" And that's 10 minutes ago in your time, not when he wrote this, or rather when someone bothered to write this down. But
yeah, he didn't write himself.
Plato did not. Someone else, like with Aristotle, wrote all his stuff down. The same with Plato's dialogues. So a lot of it's
that's a bit lazy, isn't it?
Well, look, even the pre-Socratics never did it either. So depending on who was listening at the time, hey, maybe we should write this down. Like, yeah, okay. So. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine how much got lost.
Nah, bro.
Don't be everyone being too stoned.
Yeah, we lost a lot of great stuff from back in the day, but luckily we got the Cynical Historian to talk about it. And
think of it like shower thoughts. How many shower thoughts have you lost in your life that were absolutely brilliant?
At least one.
I categorize the entire bathroom. I don't limit it to the showers.
Yeah, I know. As a friend of mine keeps saying, and he's a great fan of the old Greeks. I need to translate this into English. Fuck.
Just say it in German. We'll be fine. Half of us can understand it.
Taking your morning
Germany,
shit.
Aren't you?
Taking your morning shit is the little man's meditation.
Taking your morning shit is a little man's meditation. Huh.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, Cynical Historian. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I came.
Perfect intro.
I came. I shitted. I farted.
There was definitely There was definitely a philosophical moment out of all of that.
Yes.
All right. Let's start. Let's go.
I don't know where it was, but there was somewhere.
Really gets the noggin jogging, really activates the almonds, really cauterizes the cashews, you know what I'm saying? Really pasteurizes the pistachios, you know what I'm getting at,
Oh. No wonder my people stole all the potatoes.
All right. Let's go.
This episode is sponsored by CuriosityStream. More on a free 30-day trial at
Wow.
the end of the video.
At least it's not from...
Hey, Cypher here.
Oh my god.
Have you ever read Plato's Symposium? It's basically Plato's take on love. Basically the first philosophical discussion of what that is in human history.
It's actually like 7 or 8 guys, but Socrates is one of the guys in there. But that's fine. I don't care.
If you have read it, then you might have been surprised by the repeated hand-waving away of heterosexuality like it's of secondary importance.
Not really, no.
As one of the interlocutors say, they who are a section of the male follow the male, and while they are young, being slices of the original man, they hang about men and embrace them, and they are themselves the best of boys and youths, because they have the most manly nature. If that makes you rethink everything that you know about sexuality, good.
Nope.
No,
What?
it doesn't. No.
No!
It makes it even worse because they died out. So
What? How the fuck do you say that unironically? I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot this video.
Yes.
But how the fuck do you say that unironically, dude?
Just right off the bat. I think a lot of this stuff is while we know the Greeks and Romans had a few odd relationship types with their students and so on, and apprenticeships. I've seen a similar over and misinterpretation, sometimes deliberate, in Confucianism. And if you can go all the way to the Tao Te Ching, which is Taoism, and which, for example, Confucianism. Confucius, I don't know how you pronounce him in English, speaks of the nobleman. In the Tao Te Ching speaks of something similar. I don't have it in my head right now, but it's a similar wording. And what he means is something similar that, hold your horses, Nietzsche meant when he described the Übermensch, the overman, that was then warped by the Nazis into their weird, solely physical thing. What Nietzsche meant and what Confucius meant was people with spine, with agency, who take up charge for the people around them. So, noble in spirit, noble in soul, or whatever you want to call it. What the aristocracy then made out of it is a people's Confucianism, if you will, where, he said noble, that means he means us, that means we should rule because we are nobles by birth. Haha. And this is a lot of what you have in the common understanding of Confucianism, which is a completely warped form. I think something similar is going on here, where they overinterpret any mentions of things that can sound like sexuality.
Yeah, I have a feeling that, like what Smudge said earlier, we've lost a lot of writings from this period, and I think they're taking that whatever was written down is all there was back in that day.
And then, of course, we have a lot of translation issues.
But it's also, this is like the big brained, like, thinky people, for lack of a better word, the people who thought about stuff all day. This doesn't really tell you that much about what the average person actually thought, or how, like, what they actually thought day to day, and like in their life, like this is like the sort of equivalent of like the university professors today, right? And they're so it's like taking their position and taking that. If someone looked at today, right, in the future, and they looked at the writings of university professors today and said, "Look, see, everyone was totally cool with it, right? Everyone, there were no, it was totally accepted. Nobody had any problem.
Boys and
yeah. Everybody was
and
femboy, furry anime girls." And everyone was totally okay with it, And it's like that's the equivalent, because I think it's taking these like sort of, I guess, like important thinkers or whatever, and taking that to be reflective of the attitudes of the average person in that society, I think is a bit silly to me.
Message coming in.
It's a bit more complicated because we're talking about a book which has no chapters. It's just one straight line of text with paragraphs. And there's multiple speakers. So the person who's speaking, who said that, isn't Plato. It isn't Socrates. It isn't Phaedrus. It's one of the other guys. Which it could be a playwright. It could be a physician. There's like a bunch of other guys talking. So that's not what actually Plato thought until we get to Socrates. And then Socrates is usually what we refer to as Plato's Socrates, where he describes this woman he met at a temple who talks about love. And each of these people have their own take on what love is and how it came about and why. It's not just like philosophy, it's metaphysics and spirituality and mysticism. So back then it was like all kinds of ideas and where they came from based off their belief, especially when we talk about the pre-Socratics, which they were talking about how the universe was made based off love and strife, or, the guy thought he could fly because he jumped off of a volcano, all these crazy ideas from people. So you have to.
It's a discussion and exploration of ideas, not a set rule that the world is this.
Oh God, yeah.
So.
One guy thinks that people were like 2 heads and 4 arms, and then the gods didn't like that, so they separated us and made man and woman, and that's love. You're like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
so,
that's the original Adam and Lilith story.
Yeah, that was Aristophanes, right? So like that's the what he's known for. So it's like, okay, cool, that's great, but that's one of like 7 guys in the symposium who said stuff like that. And this, I don't even know what he was referencing.
Was Aristophanes the one who wrote The Birds?
What he wrote?
Oh, no, that was Alfred Hitchcock.
It's just one of my favorite plays, and I forgot this. The author sounds similar. If you get a hold, if you want to read old Greek plays, read The Birds. It's hilarious. It's wonderful, and it's a great critique of a society that goes bonkers because of the people in the ivory tower.
Message coming in.
So like Twitter then.
Yes, in a way. just the old Greek version.
All right.
But one more thing is that anything that's written here and that he's reading and presenting us, all of this has to be taken with a little bit more than a grain of salt, because we're talking about Old Greek. If you want to have a chance at really understanding what these people might have meant, you need to learn that. I don't speak Old Greek. Old Greek and modern Greek are different, so it's its own field. Translation issues.
Oh,
don't overinterpret things.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, here's Joe Crazy. Thank you. Apparently, this dude is a college professor. Thank God I went to community college with down-to-earth people. Okay, so
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, he could be fine. He could be all right.
He's sponsored. He must be good.
Yeah.
And
yes, I too have Raid Shadow Legends as a sponsor, so I must be good.
Here's Strawman. I love that. Thank you. Plato, really, that joke I learned from the real scholars such as Freud and Big Ideas. They answers to the questions as Aratra PS the big gay.
Those are Freudian and Bigidius.
Bigidius and
Bigidius.
Oh God.
Hiddle subtleties. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'll fetch you some of their famous dialogues after stream, Smut.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks. Can't wait.
Big big titty goth girlfriends, myth or legend?
Alrighty, let's go.
Because human sexuality is a lot more weird when you look at the history of it than you would ever believe. Just like
Really?
any
No, you
abstract
just
category,
stick your dick
it
in a
is
woman and it's
social
fine.
construct.
What? No, it's not. It's what? No. What?
So when you have
Sexuality
emotions that are
is-
sexual, society invented that, guys. It's not you.
What about the
Society
animals?
invented
How do they
your
socially
urge.
construct their shit?
Well,
Yeah, bro.
I don't know about you.
I'm just gonna
but
be horny.
The Albanian porcupine has an incredibly societal view on the world, so it created sex as well.
His video
I
and
just don't understand.
title
How
isn't
do
even
others-
the same.
I just don't understand. How do other species have sexuality when they don't have the means of sexual constructionism, social constructionism?
So we have peacocks who create nests and try to attract females with their plumage. I mean, clearly that's a
How do
social
they-
construct. They invented that by talking to each other, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How? Why?
Gary, today we are going to attract women by puffing our chest out and showing our feathers. You know what, Keith? That's a great idea.
And did the women agree that they will find it attractive?
Yeah,
They voted on it.
we had a vote.
We will now be sexually
Message
aroused
coming in.
by looking at this.
This is
That's
the
all right.
the social practice for wooing women is to wear a boa whenever you go out and just
I just
throw it around.
imagine like fucking raccoons sat around a table saying, "Oh, how do we attract women?"
Always,
We're gonna-
if you question any of this, look up the mating ritual of the kakapo. It's a wonderful bird that
Just
cannot survive.
look up the mating ritual of the common British chav. That's an amazing display of wooing ability, and they can't barely speak. So how do they all agree?
I don't know, but they at least don't look for a ground hole or a little
A
little
crap.
hole. So it's a bird, and it looks for a hole in the ground. Or
Oh, wisp! A lot of guys look for a
yeah,
hole. Don't
so-
worry about that.
Yeah, so not a cave, just the opposite of a hill.
Hey, listen,
Um,
I'm not picky these days.
Yeah. But then the kakapo sits in that, so it's something that where you can't see it easily, and then it makes a very low bass sound call, which cannot properly be pinpointed because it's a very low sound. It's and it only does this during the blossom of a specific flower that only blossoms, I think, a certain day of the year and not every year. I'm not so sure about that anymore. So there have to be a lot of circumstances that come together. And then the female has to be able to locate the male and like him.
Why would you use Tinder like all the other desperate people?
I don't know. Well, the bird really has a problem since humans introduced rats to the island, so the kakapo problem will be solved.
Or a
Man.
really big hole with a net, like the really desperate people.
I really think.
Oh dear.
Oh, but it's all a social construct. The kakapo is a social construct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Anyway,
It's always
the net is not a social. Yeah, okay. Hussar Zve, The Birds is a critique of California. Oh, okay. Is that the movie or is that?
That's the play I mentioned, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I was led to believe that's Birdemic.
No, the Birdemic is a critique of neoliberalism.
Oh my god! You know
They're
the
fucking
worst
going
thing
there.
about that is The worst thing about it is it's probably true.
I'm pretty sure it is. Well, there's a bit in it where the scientist guy just kind of says like, he's just like, this is happening because of global warming.
Right?
And,
Really?
This is why the birds are doing this. It's our fault for causing global warming and polluting the environment, or say it's something along those lines. And it's very, very on the nose.
Yeah, but it's also
Yeah.
an incredibly crap movie, so I'm not going to take it seriously.
Or is it? The
It is.
themes. The
It was ahead of its time, man. I mean,
really says something deep about life.
It was
has
ahead
a
of its
straightforward
time.
message.
Do you understand life? Well, do you? Do you?
If everyone would love each other, the world would be a better place to live.
Go outside. Get off your computer. You gotta love life. Tommy Wiseau is literally—he's a fucking alien, dude. He's an actual alien.
With the spoons.
See, the first viewing, you never grab the spoons. You're not paying attention to all the artwork. You're just like, what the hell is going on in this room? Then you look at the room, you're like, why are there pictures of spoons everywhere?
Yeah, I only picked on it on second viewing, yeah.
Anyway, let's go.
Hold on, I gotta rejoin. No.
Yes, sexuality. It's a strange beast.
Oh, wow.
I've mentioned many times.
He's got Smedley Butler there on the top right. War is a Racket. Fantastic book. It's like 20 pages long. It's great. Anyone can read it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, anyone who wants to talk about how war is bad in America and what it's been doing for 100 years, read that book. Fantastic book.
Times on the channel that any abstract category, including race, class, and gender, are social constructs. And every time I do,
it's really
always
not
so
that
confused and
It's really not that fucking complicated, though. It's just it's just what makes you horny. I mean, it's not that. I mean, it's like saying what do you mean by red? Red is a social construct because the exact point where red becomes orange is ambiguous. You know, it's like, oh well, what do you exactly mean by red? I remember I can't remember what video it was. Someone brought up that there's in Japanese they had one word that kind of meant it kind of included green and blue, and then they eventually got another word for it. But that in Japan, people still will be more likely to mix up shades of green and blue than someone who is, say, raised in America or something. But it's still dumb though. It's still there's a point to the categories blue and green, right? It's kind of silly to go oh, it's a social construct. What do you fucking mean? You know, it's this sort of what do you even mean by straight? It's really dumb.
The
really
blue-green
silly.
thing has been that has also been tested with indigenous tribes in Africa. They cannot discern, but they can discern very well between different shades of green. But so the ones that live in the jungle, they very rarely see the sky. They see the jungle ceiling of the trees, and they have no need in their everyday life,
Right?
through the generations, to distinguish between green and blue.
Right,
They
they're not gonna
rarely
see a
ever
lot of
see
blue
blue.
things, right?
Yeah, but that's they. So they show them different squares of different shades of green and blue, and they are unable to discern between the green and the blue ones. So they discern between the shades. How dark is it? How light is it? But they mix up the green and blue ones just because they're never exposed properly to them. Their brains are not processing it. Depends on where, what your senses are primed to. Do you ever need to recognize this thing in your world? That doesn't mean it's a construct. It's just a thing of how you process it. And I'm lacking the language here to
It just
describe
gets to the point where saying something's a social construct is completely meaningless
Yeah,
because it's so broad that it just can just be like anything you can say. Well, that's a social construct because it's a word that has been given a meaning.
I have a more basic question here in this, and the SJWs may call me really retarded for it if they want to. In his description here is his "we live in a society" is true, but only if that society has been constructed. And that sounds, I don't know, is that tautological? I don't know. Because what does constructed mean in this? Because if you say constructed, no, if you say it has, it's we live in a society is true, but only if that society has been constructed. And what is a non-constructed society? If you say a society constructed to be a social construct,
to me,
then that implies that it is an active process with intent. That you have intentionally...
to me, constructed sounds very authoritarian. It sounds like top down,
but
right?
That means that someone has to have actively thought this up and then told everyone, hey, do everything the way I thought this up.
Right.
And agree to it.
So that's why it's sort of entangled with the whole sort of left-wing ideology of the idea that there's these ruling classes and that it's all top-down and they decide everything for their benefit, and that nothing is just emergent. Like nothing is just kind of what people just generally understand without having to be imposed upon them by some authority. It's all like socially constructed. When you say things a social construct, it sounds like it's from some higher authority has sort of come down and go, haha, we're gonna, they're like twirling their mustaches going, haha, we're gonna construct this thing to oppress these people, and we're gonna make a word for these people, and that in and of itself is gonna be enough to oppress whatever it is. And it's just fucking dumb.
Yeah, but it sounds very similar to what some religious people understand where morality has to come from. Morality, in their eyes, only has value when it is ordained by God. God has thought up this law, how something works, and we have to abide by it. That is, in that manner, a construct that comes from a higher being that has been made, and we subject ourselves to it. And that this, when they talk about social constructs, and the way you explained it right now, it sounds very similar. It sounds like it is a divine thing. Someone made it deliberately.
Well, the thing is, the difference is that they see all of these constructs as oppressive in some way. It always comes.
Yeah, but then construct different things.
It's oppressive, and yeah, it's.
Yeah, but it's the whole big question when we go into the favorite example that they use for justifying everything, but in reality destroys everything they want. Gender dysphoria. They claim that sex and gender are social constructs, or either is a social construct, depending on with whom you talk. But
and that is another thing which is a problem.
Yeah, because some say, okay, some of the
you can get a straight answer.
Yeah, but some of the lesser indoctrinated people will still say, oh yes, okay, sex is biological, but gender is a construct. Then I will say, dude, doesn't matter what I try to construct away, because I could just try to construct something else, because if it's a construct, then I can change it, right? If it's not, then that means it's not emergent. But whether I change my sex or my gender, by your definitions of these terms, the dysphoria doesn't go away. Why not? If it's a social construct, it should be possible to talk myself out of it. But it doesn't work. Just like sexual orientation. Doesn't work. It's not a social construct. Otherwise, you could change it. We can change whether we live in a tyranny or not a tyranny, or in a democracy or an anarchy.
I remember being gay is not a choice, even though you supposedly can choose to be straight or not. But
yeah, well, this is that's a relatively new thing that they changed their whistle on that, and they are starting to say that being gay is a choice by law. That they have this need for internal consistency after all, even though it's a complete chaos all the time, infighting chaos. But the need for internal consistency is still there. And here's the thing. The need for internal consistency is inherent to the human mind. I bet these people could say that internal consistency is a social construct. Yet they fall for it all the time. I bet they would come up with that claim. Especially, it might even be necessary when they need to sell their double.
They could do anything. They could do anything. This is the wonders of the modern world. You can literally say anything, and it can be made truthful.
And it's the point of their sophistry to make every statement true. Because only then they can sell their ideology to people that no matter how you look at it will kill as many millions as it killed before in history if implemented. But yeah, I just if you say how can you say it's a social construct when we see it in nature emerging all the time? By the way, similar to capitalism in a way. If you look at it plainly. When other species are developing the notion of keeping tokens for trading to get things from other creatures, this happens in lab situations. There are a few interesting experiments on it. I don't have references right now, but especially I think cephalopods, the octopi or whatever the English word is, they do that, and one other species has been observed just developing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they keep trinkets.
It's funny, yeah, and also to trade and to get more. If they figure out, if I give this thing to the scientist, I get food. So they then start hoarding the tokens, and sometimes they share their tokens or trade their tokens with other members of their species. It's interesting.
All right, let's keep on going.
Often a lot of comments in response to that statement. But this is actually one of the clear lessons of history. Nearly every way we've thought of classifying people has been constructed, meaning
Jesus Christ.
This
is so like
whose quote is this?
Bad fucking brand, dude. I think this is just him saying it. This is just him.
Trust me, bro. They said it.
But it's, I mean, it's like you could literally say like, what do you fucking mean by diabetic? Diabetes is a social construct. It's a constructed category, right? So I
can interpret the sentence softer. If you replace a few words, you can see in this that with history, if you replace history with experience, meaning every category has an experience to it and a consequence resulting from that experience. You could argue that this is how you describe the emergence of stereotypes or wisdom by classifying certain things. Like, don't trust people who give you a handshake like a dead fish, because that handshake reveals something about their insecurities and how they want to be perceived as harmless. Not everyone who does that is like that, but a vast majority. But that does not mean that this is constructed. This is just an observed correlation. That then you can tell others to warn them about it, and that they then check if they fall into the same thing to make them wary.
I think they mostly use the term social constructs on terms that they use to describe things, so they'll use semantics more or less in their argument. So they'll say you are X kind of person, or you feel this way, therefore you are now Y, and you can believe to be X. So it's always this, what do you feel right now? Therefore that's your reality, as opposed to why do you feel that way, and trying to understand that, and then give it a terminology if you ever want to go that far.
I'd say that's what it leads to, but it goes in all directions. This idea of the social construct used in that way, it tries to creep into everything and twist everything that. So it goes into the basics and it goes into the esoterics that you described.
Alrighty, let's keep on trucking.
Every category has a history to it, and a consequence resulting from that history. And when it comes to human sexuality, the history of it clearly shows that there is no such thing as perfectly natural. There may be such
But
a
Okay.
That's not.
There is, yeah.
That's not what that's not what the fucking title of the video
normal.
says. It says normal.
But that's not what normal is,
natural.
yeah.
So now you're conflating natural
changed the
and
title.
normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very dangerous thing
Fucking different.
in arguments, especially philosophy. You never ever use, there's these words you never use. These big, big words like love and truth and perfect. And you never use this to describe anything because you're already opening yourself up to huge problems. So for Guy to talk about Plato and bring up Plato or whatever, and then to reference this one quote, which wasn't even by Socrates, and say, "Oh, what is this natural perfect thing?" You're like, dude, anyone who ever says pure nature, love, any of these big words, you just disregard them because they obviously have not thought beyond those words to imply what they're trying to say.
Is he poisoning the well so that or stronging? I don't know which one applies here.
His semantic game is weak. As soon as he said that, you sit there and you go, dude, you could read all the books you want. If you can't understand the words you're using, like a loaded word like the truth or perfect or love, like these big words you should never ever be caught using. At least from a dialectic argument, you wouldn't be making these arguments online, but people do that a lot.
Not if you want to be a professor of a university.
No. It's a big no.
I mean, first semester, I could, and some armchair idiot like me, you can maybe forgive that,
Right.
because I'm not versed in that. But not a professor who wants to be the expert on it and lecture other people online with a sponsorship. No, but what I meant is, if he puts this out and goes about perfectly natural, he is setting up an impossible standard to reach, thereby already saying anything but what I say is wrong anyway. You cannot disprove me.
I just want to know what he thinks is perfectly natural. Now that he's made the claim, I'm like, okay, great. What's your definition for perfectly natural?
But that's not the premise of the video, though. The premise is normal. That's the title of the video.
That's true.
Is about normal, which is not the same as natural. And now he's conflating the two.
To give an example, I've brought this up before. Things like homosexuality and even gender dysphoria seem to occur naturally, but they are not normal, they're not common, they're anomalies. They're naturally occurring anomalies, but for what sexuality exists for, seemingly in all of the biological world we can observe, is to promote or lead to reproduction. The sexual urges you have, you don't have to enjoy to feel joy. You feel the joy in order to be tricked into reproducing. So that's why okay, you had your sex, now the eggs fertilized, now the embryo's growing, and then you have this bundle of joy that may or may not change your life for the better or worse. But the joy you have for sex, the attraction and everything, that exists to lead you to create this little new human being or egg or whatever species you are. That's the trick. It's a trick by nature to get you to reproduce. That's all it is. We humans just figured out some ways to have the fun and postponing the responsibility. And there are a lot of other creatures out there that also want to have fun, sometimes out of necessity because there's just nothing else around. It's when you keep your little what are they called, guinea pigs, hamsters and such. If you keep too many of them in a closed space and they don't get any action with the other sex, their sexual drive the pressure just increases, and eventually they need to release. They're not homosexuals; they just need to fuck. And a similar thing we see in prisons. That is part sexual tension. That is part game of dominance. The people who have prison sex is not at least by the science investigating that, is not heterosexual. It's mainly pent up sexual tension and asserting dominance. So that has nothing to do with a construct. That is just naturally emerging behavior. We see that in other species. We see that in ours.
Yeah.
All right.
The thing as a natural human sexuality, but there are so many centuries of history layered on top of it that we have no way of knowing what is natural or not.
Yeah, Cypher, some
That is-
categories do seem perfectly normal.
Why?
What?
Why is
Can I
Movie
just- can I
Bob
just
in
say
this
something?
video?
What the
What?
fuck are you on about? There is no evidence that society has ever not been majority heterosexual. There's no reason to assume that it's society. It's literally everywhere. It's
The question is, he hasn't.
completely separate cultures that have nothing to do with each other still have this exact same thing. It's
Yeah, and
just
he hasn't
bizarre.
described yet. He hasn't described yet what he even means with sexuality.
I mean,
And there's a difference. Sexuality and sexual orientation are not the same thing.
But
So
it's
he's
just
he's using these interchangeably as well.
Yeah, but it's just bizarre though that he's trying to imply that, well, it could be that people have no preference whatsoever, and then society makes it no, I don't accept that. I think the vast majority of people would be straight with no pressure at all, with no society around them at all. I think they would still mostly be straight. I don't think it's the case.
Or not
that
even just.
it seems to be what he's implying, that's we don't know, it's a possibility, but we don't know, it's so impossible to disentangle because we live in a society.
Oh, it's not even just about just straight. There are a lot of and this is quite a bit tragic if you ask me. There are a lot of gay men who repress their homosexuality. Some know, some are in denial. And if you look at them, you usually know they're gay, but who marry a woman and have 2 or 3 children because they want children, but they never felt any sexual attraction to their wife. They just wanted children, and they knew I can't have this with a man.
That was what's his name?
And that is
Philip Schofield, right?
I was just about to bring up to no. He came out as gay because
because of allegations.
Allegations.
I remember. I remember there was a relatively known US morning show TV host who I just saw a few frames of, and of course that man is gay. But and then everyone was, oh, we must support him, so brave. Oh, this man is in his 50s or 60s.
See, I saw that and I was like, how the fuck do you,
absolutely.
It's how do you I can't imagine trying to be gay for I guess the equivalent of being gay and I don't know, I'm gonna force myself to get hard and have sex with someone that I'm just dead ass not attracted to.
And I lure a woman, and several times.
I don't even get that.
Several times, and I lure a woman into a marriage and make her believe that I love her, and this is so absolutely cruel.
How do you even do
filed
that?
for divorce.
I don't think I can do that.
And she filed for divorce afterwards quietly, and was expected to support her husband in his homosexuality.
Oh yeah.
This is absolute brave. This is a cruel society. This is a completely unempathetic
as a pariah. Yeah,
because I feel sorry for that woman. She is in a situation where she has to live with the fact that for 30, 40 years she was being used. and the man she thought loved her never loved her. This is, and even has children with him. And anytime she will see her children, she will be reminded of that.
Yeah,
even
but I'm
if
not
those
talking
children
about,
are
on a
adults
moral-
now.
I'm not even talking about like on a moral level. I'm talking about like physically, like how
Yeah, this
I
is
can't
wrong on
imagine
every
even-
level.
even being able to do it, like physically being able to do it. Like I don't
Yeah,
really get it.
yeah.
I don't.
But
get
that's yeah, I know that's wrong on every level. Well, you can stimulate a man relatively easily physically, but there are situations where a man really is so put off by what's going on around that you just can't get it up. But generally, physical stimulation works, which is why women can rape men, because they mainly just need to physically stimulate them or manipulate the blood flow, and then it gets hard. That's a so purely physiological thing. Yeah, but after the sidetracking, who is this champagne anarcho-communist that we see now here?
Movie
All of
boss.
a sudden.
I'm telling you.
Here,
Look at the
That's not movie
fucking,
boss.
look
I
at
just
the
want,
fucking physiognomy on this dude, right?
this has always been a problem with me. Like, let me just read this super chat. I'll get into it. But Joe Crazy, of course, that guy has an anarcho-commie flag. If you understand the term anarcho-communism, anarchy implies the destruction or lack of government. If you want to go that far,
Yes.
communism is an actual political theory. So, what the hell are you talking about? Do you want to destroy society?
Well, no.
No,
Because
what it is
communism
it's
supposed to
it's-
be a stateless, classless society. So it's in that sense
That's what they
completely
claim they want to make,
makes
and
sense,
all
right?
the
So
antifas.
that's the claim. Yeah.
All the antifas are anarcho-communists, and let's say almost all of them, and they believe that communism will be this non-authoritarian thing. But they're all the anarcho-communists, despite saying anarcho,
authoritarian.
they're all very authoritarian people, and they will always, when they get into power, they will always build a hyper-authoritarian society that we have seen manifest in history in some of these horrible nations of the last century. And
just look at
and
Chaz.
as we
That's literally all you have to do.
Yeah,
You
I
see what
wanted
sort of
to.
society they want to.
See, this is
Yeah.
why I have.
I
more
wanted to
respect
bring
for,
that
like,
up as the
literal,
final
like Leninists and shit, because it's like actual Stalinists, actual tankies who are just like, yeah, like that where because if you say to like an Ancom and you're like, look at all these people that communism killed, and they're like, no, they weren't real communists. And then whereas a Stalinist, an actual Stalinist, will just go, yeah, he killed all those people. Good. it was a necessary sacrifice for the revolution, and but it was so authoritarian. It's like, well, that's just what's necessary to save the proletariat from the oppression of the imperialist capitalism. And so they'll just go like, yeah, it was violent. Yeah, it was oppressive. Well, that's just what you have to do.
Good.
So, and I kind of respect that honesty on a level where like I don't have that with the Ancoms because they're just so in denial about the results of their own ideology.
Message coming in.
I just find the entire
Patching it through.
idea contradictory as opposed to
It is.
anarcho-capitalism, which is saying I don't want a state, or I don't want to have all this government, and I want to have a particular economic model, which seems pretty normal.
Yeah, because here's the
the
thing,
anarcho-capitalism-
people mistake because capitalism isn't a political theory, but because it was capitalism versus communism, the bright sparks thought, well, someone said anarcho-capitalism, so I'll say anarcho-communism,
Right.
without actually thinking
no,
what the actual
they-
words
they
mean.
only
Well,
think in-
anarcho-communism came first.
But
Anarcho-communism
they mainly
is
think in buzzwords is the thing. They don't
It's
really
like-
understand the terms they're using.
To be honest with you, I don't care what a bunch of midlife virgins who quite honestly have a panic attack over a phone call want to do. They're not going to do anything apart from bitch on Twitter.
Most
so.
of them are in their teens and early 20s, not midlife.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just where they end
Sorry.
up.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Many
I
of
don't
them
care
get
what
out
a
of
bunch
that
of
nonsense.
They're
virginal
living with their parents.
teenagers who have panic attacks over phone calls are going to do.
Look, and back in the day, when I was closer to these circles, I wanted to know, because this to me this didn't make sense either. With anarchy, communism, we've seen the face of communism time and again. How is this supposed to work with anarchy? And they always started to think, because they didn't know off the cuff. They didn't have an answer off the cuff. It seemed like they always were thinking about it for the first time. And the gist of it is that everyone came up with a description of something that is more closer to anarcho-naturalism. Like everyone lives in a little commune with a couple dozen people, and then we all share our resources. And their problem is that they believe that this system that can work in your little tiny village in the forest, that this endlessly, infinitely scales up to the level of cities and nations.
Yeah. That's what like Dunbar's number, right? It's like 200 people ish. You know, that can be you can actually have relative sort of communal ownership of things.
Yeah, and 200 is already quite a lot.
But you kind of know like people, right? You know like the people in your little sort of village, your little commune, whatever. But like it's not made for industrial society, and pointing to that as because I see so many times where commies will point to like pre-industrial, like even pre-agriculture societies and go, look, see, it was communism. And it's like, yeah but it was pre-industrial.
Yeah, but they do not understand that this system does not scale.
Yeah.
You have 1,000 people and already it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't know each other. When people know each other, they're more likely to cooperate. There's a what's the number? Something 300 something, roughly. That people lose track of who everyone is, and that's when people are less likely to cooperate, and then the system doesn't work, and that is then when you start to rather do trade things for each other.
After that number, empathy kind of becomes this abstract concept where you can say that you care about those people. But
it's also a trust thing.
In practice,
okay, how many people do you actually care about in your town?
Right,
in your hometown, how many people do you actually care about?
So that's close.
Even if you say in abstract sense that you care about poor people in some random country thousands of miles away that you've never met, it's never going to be the same as people you actually see.
Yeah, and that's also not. I also wouldn't say that that's care. I like the word right now. But what these
you don't even know
what these communes have.
There's 103,000 people in my hometown, right?
Yeah.
And I know less than 1% of them.
But look,
couldn't tell you. So this whole thing, we're all going to be one community, caring and loving and working with each other. No.
Yeah, but it's not about caring. It's really not about caring. That's their mistake. They think it's everyone cares about each other. It's bullshit. What you have when you have these smaller groups is that you can trust. You know whom you can trust. When you have the bigger groups, you lose track of whom you can trust. You will trust a stranger less than someone you know, and there will be people you know you can't trust. So the more people are around that you don't know, the less likely you are to trust. And this then goes into the tit for tat game. That also. That is also pretty well mapped out by experiments. That you always will have a part of society that will only take and not give. That is naturally there. Whether you call it narcissistic or antisocial, this is up to you. It's just people. It's just parts of society, entities, individuals that don't.
Call them women.
Well, they are gatherers. There's even been robot experiments with little AIs that are programmed. These individuals, they only take but don't give. These individuals only give but don't but never. They do take, but they will never learn from if this other unit is never giving me anything when I ask. I will still give something. So they have the idea was they have limited resources to function, and when they run out of resources, they shut down. But they can share the resources they can gather. So then you have the third group that has the tit for tat algorithm. That is, I share stuff, but if I encounter someone who regularly never gives back I give that individual, but I never receive anything back. I will start trading with that other one because apparently that's a parasite that's just taking. What happens in the end? You can guess yourself. The parasites eventually will not get anything from the tit for tat bots anymore, and the altruistic bots that always give.
Are you trying to tell us all the poets and university students will die off in an actual communist society?
No,
if that's true,
as long as
already has a poet comrade.
No, this is the fun thing is that you will find the same thing in the psychodynamic between narcissists and empaths. Or rather the pathologically altruistic, because what was it? Right, the parasitic bots, they will only be able to survive as long as there are the altruistic bots that naively always give their resources even until they die. In a society where you do not have the tit for tat bots, but only the altruists and the parasites, both will die out. Because when the altruists run out of resources, the altruist dies because he doesn't get any. He eventually runs into a situation where there are only parasites around him, and of course the parasites don't give anything in an emergency situation. So it takes a while, and then an altruist dies, and then another, and another, and then eventually you only have the parasites who do not give anything to anyone. So they will starve. They will starve themselves out. You need the tit for tat algorithm. That is the one that always survives and the one that weeds out. So if you have a society that has tit for tat and only parasites, the parasites will die, but the tit for tat will survive. If you have tit for tat and the altruist, that is stable, that works. And so the problem is not the altruists. The problem is the parasites. If you want to get rid of the parasites, you have to get rid of the altruists. Or rather say, you have to mature you have to figure out how you mature the pathologically altruistic bots into a mature tit for tat bot that learns to not give endlessly. Because you will just be exploited. And this is what happens in narcissistic abuse. Narcissists go for empaths who are very altruistic, suck them dry, and then they throw them away when they're on the ground, when they've sold their last shirt, and then the narcissistic abuser just goes to the next target and probably already has one and doesn't give a shit what happens to you. That's basically the same thing. And this abuse victim usually either stays in this cognitively dissonant world where, but everyone's nice, I just need to be even nicer, must give even more. Or the individual is so broken that finally something clicks and something in the brain says, hey, maybe I should be more careful with how many chances I give. Maybe I should draw the line, maybe I should make a rule, like if the other messes up 3 times and there's no improvement, I cut contact. I stop helping. And that is learning the tit for tat in a human.
All right, I think we've exhausted that topic. Thank you, guys. Here's Hassar Zve. Thank you. If right-wing means small government, is anarchy far right? I think on that scale from left to right, that's the idea, but it depends on what...
The problem...
right and left...
The problem with everyone is... I know everyone always makes jokes about it, but with these Tims, it literally is like the horseshoe. As the further you go each way, you start to double back on yourselves and everything gets muddled up because there's very little.
The joke is that the anarcho-communists believe or try to sell us that they are in the bottom left square on the political...
Oh, no, Wisp. But the joke is anarcho-communist. Anarcho-communist. That's it. If you just finish your sentence there, the joke is anarcho-communist. That's it.
I know. But they're trying to sell us that they are the left liberals because they're anarcho. But they never behave. They never act anarcho. They act authoritarian. They are left-wing hyper-authoritarian.
Well, you know what these university students are. The word begins with A. It's
Asshole?
potatoes. Yeah. So
All right.
anyway, let's get on with history shows that there's no sex or whatever. This crap
Being
is.
too gender. We think that challenging the gender binary is a new thing, but actually it's very old. Many different cultures
No.
in the past and
What?
even today have had extremely different concepts as to what gender actually is. But to learn how that works, you're going to have to come over to my channel.
They never use
Just
that, and no
Step Back
thanks.
History, and he's basically doing the same thing I am with this episode, but instead of human sexuality, he's doing the same thing with gender. So be sure to go.
Oh my god.
Isn't
Oh.
it the same?
This is okay, and
So,
there's another, I forgot to ask. Why are all these people obviously overweight? Why are
You know, right?
these
Okay.
these are champagne
Which-
socialists?
We should open the door. Why is it that most people who talk about sexual orientation, how there's none of it, and gender and all this stuff, look like the
Message
people
coming
who
in.
have
Patch it
none
over.
to minimal amounts of sex?
Who do you think this guy attracts? I wash my hair so that it doesn't look like that. He's
Also, he's
putting
kinda-
stuff in his hair so that it looks like that.
He's kind of asymmetrical, you know. That's all I'm saying. He's kind of little bit asymmetrical. That's
Oh, he's
We're all a little bit
definitely he's
asymmetric.
definitely a something. Dollface, I'll give you that.
Well, I would go for untouchable, but okay.
I wouldn't
Whoa.
trust unattractive, overly overweight communists on teaching me anything about sexuality or gender.
frankly, I don't give a fuck what people
Literally
hundreds of years ago thought.
Yeah.
It's really like, oh look, they this fucking tribe somewhere had this really like unique idea of gender or some shit. It's like, okay, but could they actually do anything about it? Like, could they couldn't. It's not like they could do hormone replacement therapy in some fucking like, you know, in like the 1600s in sub-Saharan Africa. They're not gonna have hormone replacement therapy. What are they gonna cut off their fucking dick with a fucking
No,
bone?
well, the best
Like with a
the best
sharpened
thing about
fucking
it is-
bone, are they gonna cut off
No,
their
no.
fucking dick? Like,
thing about it is-
it
Look,
has
it's
no fucking meaning to say, look, this person is a third gender. It means fucking nothing if they can't actually do anything physically about it.
Yeah, and
It
it's not-
means
Hey,
nothing.
hey, guess what? Hey, guess what? How how good that all that being, no genders and everything. Yeah, how well was that against, European guns? Didn't do much, didn't help that much, did it?
Yeah, well, here's the next problem. These people, as I've said before, these people use the phenomenon, the wider phenomenon of gender dysphoria as a justification that there is some third gender. That is not the proof of that. Gender dysphoria is a very, very binary
tribes,
thing. It's just that
These
throughout
tribes are so
history-
advanced and intelligent.
Yeah. These
just
cultures
that-
Yet
said some
they
really
still,
dumb
yet they
shit,
still,
and
yet they
that-
still
and
had,
cares
yet
for
they,
some
yet they
reason.
still, yet they still wore grass skirts and threw spears.
Like,
yeah. But
It's like, yeah, okay,
Wakanda forever, man.
Yeah. that limited means of
no
understanding.
condom forever or whatever he said.
Yeah, but people in the past, in these pre-industrial societies, pre-scientific, that we have hormone therapies is an absolutely young thing, and we're not even sure if there are other ways to deal with this condition. However,
I don't care what the pygmy warriors of Abungo Gorge did about the
That's
third
all right.
genders or anything.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
all right.
oh, yeah,
But-
it's like cool, but don't.
yeah,
tell
but
me
it doesn't
that
mean they haven't identified another gender.
But
That's not what they
Hawk,
did.
doesn't this challenge your preconceived notions?
No. The
Oh,
only thing I realise is my ancestors were right to shoot him. It was perfectly reasonable.
Based.
Look, when you had things coming up with like this two-spirit thing that the Native Americans had, that is only, here's this thing happening, this phenomenon. Let's try to understand it with the limited tools and meaning that we can figure out. We have no means to resolve this issue, so we believe in all the spirit stuff. So we come to the conclusion that, probably there are two souls in you, one of a man and of a woman. That was an error when you were born. It happens. That's it. And that's not a third sex or anything. That is not something you have to slam onto the LGBT alphabet soup. That is just their attempt at understanding gender dysphoria, and they probably lumped cross-dressing into that, and maybe gayness as well. That's all that was, and other societies, other cultures have done similar things and try to deal with this in some fashion.
But I feel like this is another idea.
None
of
of that makes it a third sex or gender.
I feel like that this is also another sort of idea of like, if we looked at more recent history with this kind of lens that this guy's looking at through, you would look back and go, oh, they had this third gender called tomboys. You know, see, they had this third gender and they called it tomboys. It's like so fucking dumb. But it's like you could literally use that logic. If we were thousands of years from now and we look, they had this thing called tomboys. See, that this proves that gender is a construct, you know, and it was a different gender. I feel like this is the same thing. I feel like this is pretty much the same thing.
The only thing that would survive would be all fucking weeb shit, and be like, oh, great.
Yeah, but weeb shit has tomboys. So
they watch fucking X-Arm and they go, wow, people really looked like this. Wow,
this must have been their gods. And I'm just going like, you know something, that's not that far off.
Oh god.
What is this? What is this JoJo you talk about?
What is this JoJo?
Oh, this was the highest form of art.
The sacred texts. The sacred texts of JoJo.
It's just like us, like 500 years in the future. We've been frozen. We wake up, it's just like, oh god, no.
And then they will have imitation art of JoJo in their present day because it's a new fashion.
Quite honestly, modern JoJo is quite flamboyant. So
modern JoJo, they're like, we've got to make them all white because there's too many black people in the past.
Well, the protagonist of JoJo the current protagonist of JoJo has 4 balls, so he's very masculine.
Yeah, he is.
Why shouldn't this old ancient historical figure known as Martin Luther King be played by a white guy? I think it's very progressive.
Well, we don't know what he was. We
don't know what he looked like.
It's impossible to tell. Yeah.
There must have been white people in, America back in the 21st century. to think otherwise is incredibly racist.
Wow,
Stop you, conspiracy.
Yeah, God.
Anyway, let's keep going.
See, that's how ridiculous all this sounds. Get it in your heads.
Here's Taker 610. Thank you. Is this movie Bob explaining why girls hate him?
Yes.
No, that was the other
Probably.
video.
I mean, he's not inherently wrong, but
No, he is wrong. It's not just girls hate him; it's everybody.
all right, we're almost 3 minutes in. We're doing well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yay. We needed an hour for this.
Better go check that out. Now, to get started, sexuality is different from gender. But
That's because you made it up.
Sexuality into the category of gender when they're talking about like gender studies and that, because a lot of academics are just not very imaginative. Which is kind of sad because talking about sexuality, there's a lot of things to imagine, right?
I am so glad. I am so glad that gender studies is banned in my country.
Academia really only started coming.
All you had to do for that joke was just play the fucking Pornhub music for 3 fucking seconds. You didn't have to play this long fucking clip. You could just go boom, 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 boom. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do.
Please never wink and click your fingers ever again.
This is how low
I would
fucking
assume that
S
he
you
knows
are.
what's funny.
This is how low T you are that you didn't even think of that because you're so low fucking T that you have no fucking libido to know what that is. Fuck you, sir.
He
Fuck you, sir,
identifies
and
as
good day.
professor.
Good day, sir.
I need T blockers and probably still have more in my system.
I just... Fucking hell. I just... Oh, dear.
Oh, great! I broke Hawk.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's just true, though. No, it's true. Like I sit through these videos, and I'm literally being told by the most weedy little manlets in the history of like the world what I should and shouldn't be doing and
look at
understanding.
those, look at those fucking delicate fingers there, man.
And I'm just like, oh my god, man! Just like, could you possibly be like a man once in your life? Just like for 20 seconds.
Let's keep going, folks.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Subject in recent decades, but going back a couple millennia, Plato was clearly dealing with a completely different form of sexuality back in...
Plato? You know how many thoughts Plato had? I don't think sexuality was at the top of the list.
I mean, it's literally just gay pedophilia. I mean, it's not that complicated, dude.
Plato's gay republic.
The homo state.
I can imagine part of his brain was occupied with how to hide from Diogenes.
The based homo fascist ethno state.
Plato was dealing with sexuality. Yeah, sure. Okay. Because I think of sexuality when Plato pops up in my head. Yeah, okay.
Oh my god. This is such a rubbish video. Why are you so bad?
Did he use like any science so far, like for like a professor of
no,
whatever?
It's just semantics.
It's like the video from yesterday with the psychology girl.
I should have been on for that.
But at least you watched The Office, though. So
I saw
that.
You gotta be
I
a
saw
funny guy
the
from The
character
Office.
from Desperate Housewives, and actually, I've watched the first fucking season of Desperate Housewives.
Oh no!
I'm so fucking bored.
Why would you admit to that?
But yeah, look,
why just go all out and say I watched all five?
I'm content in my masculinity, okay? You don't understand, okay? You don't understand the intricate plots, okay?
You need something that challenges it.
You sound pretty.
You don't understand the deep
themes.
You don't understand the deep themes of Desperate Housewives, okay?
The deep themes of Desperate Housewives. Holy shit!
You need a really high IQ to understand Desperate Housewives.
It's almost as deep as Freddy Got Fingered, but you know it's not quite there yet.
Oh man!
Listen, this is. I fucking hate it.
Well, we're gonna try and keep going and make sense of this gentleman.
This just literally just turns into how many gay jokes can we make in the next hour. That's about it.
The 4th century BC, which is when that symposium supposedly took place. They're talking about what is sometimes called homosexuality, but to be more specific, it's actually called pederasty. And pederasty and homosexuality
pedophilia.
are not the same thing. If you recoil in disgust at even the
it's an
mention of
umbrella
that word,
term, dude.
that's a good thing. We don't think boys can give consent.
Why?
That's
consent?
a modern notion.
What do you mean by consent? Consent is a social construct.
As soon as they hit puberty. And many of these cases were actually well into adulthood, but normally there was a significant age difference. Whether it be a 30-year-old with a 16-year-old, or a 50-year-old with a 25-year-old. Plato was famously entangled with a boy named Dion when that boy was 16, and continued well into that boy's adulthood. Actually, he wrote sonnets for the kid, saying, "Oh Dion, whose love
that would never happen
the
today,
heart
right?
Within
That would never.
This breast."
Yeah.
That would never happen
This was
today.
considered normal
What
for
is this
centuries,
garbage editing?
not only in Greece, but throughout the Roman Empire, too. Can you imagine a world where pederasty was considered the status quo? It's difficult to
it was called Chaz.
It wasn't, though. It wasn't the status quo.
The Catholic Church?
It was a thing that happened, but it wasn't the status quo.
Ireland, Ireland had a hell of a lot of it with the Catholic Church.
Fuck's sake, man! Like it's
Jehovah's Witnesses.
What a
Pornia.
Pornea. Oh my God, Pornea.
Does
Jesus
this
Christ.
constitute pornea?
Pornea?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Certain
Is he
Islamic societies.
masturbating?
Yes.
Don't wear tight jeans because that's gay.
I think in Pakistan or Bangladesh it was, where they have this custom with especially dressed up boys who have to dance on the table for the old men and then suck their dicks.
No, that's just Desmond is amazing. You're getting that confused.
Yeah, and then well, there are a lot of communists arguing for lowering or getting rid of the age of consent.
Well, famously Foucault, right? So that was like
Foucault, Friedrich Engels as well.
Yeah.
Goes all the way back.
What about all the maps that are doing stuff?
I mean, you can ask Walsh about it.
Oh no! He's too busy with
his horse cock.
Horses.
Yeah, his horse cocks. Yeah.
Modern person. And that's the crux of this discussion. There is no such thing as natural sexuality, at least that we can find.
You haven't
Natural
proved that at all.
sexuality.
There is no
hang on,
shortage of documents with which to
sexuality.
study discourses of non-normative sexuality. So as with
No.
any video like this,
Normative.
I am not trying to have an
This
He
guy
hasn't proved
keeps
anything.
using
It's not
all the words
interchangeable.
interchangeably. I would expect from him of all people that he would make a very hard distinction between normal and normative, because that's what these people usually are about. That they say, "Oh, it's not normal; we mean normative." He uses everything interchangeable.
Yeah, but there's
So normative is
naturally sexual.
So he's even
normative is
bad for.
preferable. Isn't that it? Normative is like if something's normative, it's preferable, right? Isn't that the idea? So
I mean,
so heteronormativity is the idea that heterosexuality is preferable. Right? That it's
What I mean is that he's even bad for an SJW. He's even bad. He's a professor of this stuff, and he's even bad in his own ideology. Because usually they are nitpickers, and they have to nitpick for anything to make sense. But he's conflating everything, and maybe for the same goal.
Yeah, it's just you can't say. Oh, whatever.
An exhaustive definition of every single example that I could possibly find. Rather, I am trying to give just enough to show that sexuality is a social construct. Throughout
None of this
history,
has
we
shown
can
that.
find
What the fuck?
We call homosexuality was outlawed in numerous states, but
So
in order for it to be outlawed, it had to exist. Anti-sodomy
What?
laws
Yeah, because
go
it
back
naturally
as far
exists.
as the Assyrian Empire, at least that we can find. Those
Okay,
guys
and?
said, if a man has intercourse with his brother in arms, they shall turn him into a eunuch.
Base!
Yeah, Bronze Age empires weren't known for their subtlety. In the United States, there's actually still states that have anti-sodomy laws on the books, though Lawrence
think
Justice made those unconstitutional in 2003. But because of such laws, we know of numerous people's sexual proclivities, which include the whole pantheon of queer orientation.
Wait, this
They're not fucking gods, Jesus.
The whole pantheon. Holy shit!
They're not fucking gods.
the point
It
he
makes it
made.
sound like they're fucking like the gods of homosexuality or something. The LGBT like gods. The pantheon.
On top of like Mount Bumrush.
The big gay.
Christ, dude.
But isn't the thing rather that he is that the point he brought up
Ultimate
that
homosexual.
homosexuality had to be outlawed. So that's you can say that's a construct, if you will. Laws are constructs.
Yeah,
laws are constructs.
Yeah.
But then he goes back and uses the example that in an old Middle Eastern society, homosexuality already existed. Yeah, but that rather sounds that if it has to be outlawed there,
homosexuality
it has
existed.
yeah,
That's
the
great,
people
but
probably
still
didn't
marry
make it up.
9-year-olds,
Prove to me that homosexuality is made up, that you constructed it into being. Because if it's if you have to outlaw it all the time, which is a construct, that rather sounds like it's naturally emerging over and over again.
It's just
and
bizarre,
then it's not a
because
construct.
It's like making up a word to describe something makes it a social construct. It's like that. Like, it feels like that's the level we're at here. Whereas, like, if you have they had to make up the word. It's like, yes, because we're describing a fucking thing. Like, what
thing? Yeah.
What do you fucking mean? Like,
yeah.
What are we supposed to do? Just not have a word
describe
for it? What do you fucking mean, dude? And it's like pretty objective.
Point,
whether someone fits into the category,
and shrug.
Even if they like, it's like you can. Does it mean? If you're a man, do men make you horny or not? Like, do they make you horny or not? It's not that hard, you know. And it's kind of like they either do or they don't. Do women make you horny?
Does the person you're looking at make you feel like you've got to call a plumber because you leak it? I mean,
does it give you the tingle and the tingle in the fairy garden, whatever, like the does it make you feel funny in the area, but it's like, what do you fucking mean? Like, they either are or they aren't. Men either have sex with men or they don't. Like, you can't just what do you fucking mean? It's like you can define it so like specifically, and you can determine whether they fit into that category objectively. Like, objectively, does it fit this definition? And it either does or it doesn't. So it's just like.
So I don't think he's gonna bring us an example of how homosexuality, for example, is an actual construct, because we're past that point in the video. I don't think he's gonna bring anything that proves that in any way.
He definitely hasn't proved it so far. There's nothing he's done that's proved.
The last thing was just an attempt at weaseling in the belief that might be, but that's just bullshit. It's just proving that, okay, it existed for a long time, so.
Yeah, I just like, okay, cool.
But it's like, do men have sex with men or not? Do they or do they not?
Yeah.
Do they or do they not penetrate each other in some way? Do they or do they not? Do they do it? Do they fucking do it? That's it.
That's even irrelevant to the argument.
It's like, yeah. But it's like, if you're talking about the act of sodomy itself, it's like, do they do it? Do they fucking do it? And they either do or they don't. It's pretty like fucking.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Do they stick the pee-pee in the hole? It's like
Which hole do you stick your pee-pee into?
It's like, what do you fucking mean, dude? It's so.
Yeah, but they made this word up, Dollface. So it means it's a construct. So gay people just made up being gay. So gay's not real, so they shouldn't be it. So they can choose whatever they want to be.
I mean, bro, what do you mean? What do you mean gay sex? It's literally just rubbing this particular part against this other particular part for some time. It's literally just
gay sex.
It's
gay
literally
sex is just sword fighting with your bros, right?
Bro, it's literally just a specific kind of rubbing your skin against each other's skin in a specific place, bro. It's literally just rubbing. It's literally just fancy rubbing. That's all it is.
I don't think these people could construct their way out of paperback.
It's a lot of friction.
Yeah, bro. It's literally just friction, bro. Like, what? It's literally just friction, bro. Oh my god.
And many very famous people in it. These include Lord Byron, Oscar Wilde, Tchaikovsky.
What is this
Billie
supposed to
Holiday,
prove?
John Maynard Keynes.
There are
and
gays?
Alan Turing, just to name
There are
a few.
gays, wow.
This shows
There are
that There are
gays.
people always pushing against the status quo.
They're not pushing, you fucking asshole! My god!
Yes,
No,
sometimes
you
they're
definitely
receiving.
don't want to
Turing
push.
wasn't pushing against the status quo, he was just gay.
You don't want to push. That makes it painful.
Yeah.
This pisses me off so much about the fucking activists and pretend to speak for other people all the time. They put thoughts and intentions into people's being. Oscar Wilde wasn't pushing for homosexuality.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Or that society be more gay. Neither was Alan Turing. What the fuck are you making up?
Hey, babe.
Yeah.
You want to engage in some friction? You want to engage in some friction, babe?
I am.
Want to do some of that friction?
No, they were just existing. They were just living their lives.
Bro, we are literally just We are literally just engaging in friction, dude. What's your problem, bro? It is literally just friction, bro.
It's
just some friction. It's just some friction with the boys.
It's just some frickin' friction.
It's just some frickin' friction with the boys, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. If I want to recreate the duel at the end of Star Wars Episode 1 with my best friend, come on, just nothing wrong with that,
bro. It's just a little,
it's perfectly
just a little bit of the a little bit of the old friction, a little bit of the old.
Get a new line, please.
It's just a little bit of the old,
little bit of the old, little bit of the old in out. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of the old.
Bob's your uncle behind the garden shed.
Oh, just a little bit of rub.
Wink, wink, nudge,
The
nudge.
horse is dead.
And then we fucked.
All right. Let's calm down.
I am calm.
You're laughing. Wisp is raging, and you're laughing.
Latin. Wisp is raging, and you're making gay jokes.
And you're laughing.
I was just like, what's his name? Quagmire. Right. I'm reminded of Quagmire.
All right.
It never stops. The joke never stops.
Giggity, giggity. Very well, then.
Oh, Seth, why did you make that character?
Because it's fucking hilarious.
My favorite bit with Quagmire is the bit where he just comes out after being in his house for ages, and you just see his right arm. You just see his arm. That's the best
Seth,
Quagmire part.
back when you used to be funny and everything wasn't political.
I only love the scene where he talked smack to Brian.
He talks back to Brian a lot.
Right, let's continue.
That was at dinner.
All right, let's go.
These definitions backwards, like saying that, like, oh look, this one famous guy must have been gay. But that's not really understanding how these categories got constructed. Then again, there were plenty of people who were crossing these sexual boundaries, at least in secret. As historians, when we find environments that have a bunch of people of the same...
Okay, unlike people like you, who are out there to actively defy society because you want to rebel against this, that, or another, and to be special, some people are just attracted to the same sex. Don't care about rebelling against society or being special. They just want some love. And they don't care about what anyone constructs, because you make a construction game out of this to be special, to feel special, and to do more deviant shit to be more special than the other idiots who pretend to be special when they're the most boring and dull people that have ever existed. And you are one of them.
Napoleon was the gayest French ever.
Why is he... Yeah, I know he's French, but come on. I mean...
Gay and French is interchangeable, Hawk, okay?
But, yeah, it's the old Greek translation.
Aristotle wrote before Christ,
Aristotle, quote, French is just another word for faggot.
You do not construct the category of homosexual. The category of homosexual is self-describing. It's you have two beings of preferably the same species that are of the same sex, that produce the same gametes, and have sex with each other.
Wow.
I am homosexual. That is not constructed.
Are you trying to say that good little communist boys can't have horse cock?
I'm saying that 1 + 1 is 1. 2. Oh my god, I did it.
Oh god, you fucked that up, didn't you?
I'm too riled up for basic math. I'm turning into one of these guys. Fuck.
It's gonna be too late for you now.
It's over. It's over. It's over. My brain is Swiss cheese. It's over.
At least it's not French cheese.
About the French.
Yeah.
At least it's not French.
God, I fucking hate the French anyway.
As long as it's not camembert, you're all right. Okay.
Oh, the French.
The French.
Gender, typically we will find relationships that would currently be called homosexual. In fact, oftentimes they seem so commonplace that sodomy...
Bro, is it gay to literally fuck your bros? Bro, is it gay? No, bro, it's not. No, you don't understand, bro. No, it's not gay, bro. No, it's not gay. We're just good friends, and we just been spending a lot of time together, and I haven't seen any women in a while. It's not gay, bro. Yeah. It's not gay.
Listen, he was just helping me polish my musket. What's gay about that? Come on,
bro.
Guys.
He's literally just sticking his penis on my ass. What's gay about that, bro? What's gay about that? We're just buddies. We're just comrades. We're just brothers in arms, right?
We're just firing a few rounds into each other.
Yeah, bro, it's fine. It's fine. What's gay about that, bro? As long as the balls don't touch, it's fine.
We'll work right here.
Yeah, as long as the balls don't touch, that's the rules.
Oh my.
Frankly, I don't give a fuck about what they identify as at that point. That's kind of fucking gay. That's kind of fucking gay, bro.
I don't really care what the French military did, because like the French military weren't that. Isn't a military you should be following. If you
I don't care about this argument of, well, they don't identify as gay, but they fucked, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck what they say at that point. I don't care if they say no, it's not gay. I'm not gay. I just fucked my male friends. It's kind of like it's.
I think I know what I wanted to say and why it ended up bullshit. Dick plus dick is gay. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Dick plus dick is gay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Just seems
right
like an
back
alternative
down.
to heterosexuality. For instance, the
fucking
Ottoman
gay,
Empire outlawed sodomy, and
Based.
yet we can find numerous instances of people citing male-on-male prostitution as a huge problem, which included among the
janissaries because they said no homo before they did it, so it's not gay.
Sorry.
Mostly accidentally, actually.
God.
Much
I think
as
that's too
lesbians
far.
inside of convents reflected the world out. You can find numerous instances of people citing male-on-male prostitution as a huge problem.
Right. So, I mean, what is this supposed to prove exactly?
And you got too much pressure, you need to get it off. And when there's no women around,
what does this have to do with it being a social construct, bro?
Some people need a little help with their masturbation. That's all.
Like what?
Yeah,
how does this have anything to do with proving it's a social construct? It's literally just okay. Look, there were gays.
Also, this guy's completely this guy's completely ignoring bisexuality here.
Oh, that bastard!
Wow, typical fucking bi erasure is not the term that they use.
A lot of
some bi erasure.
A lot of these people, a lot of these men could just have been bi. If they were heterosexual, maybe they would just have wanked off themselves.
I think in most societies, if you were bi, you probably would have just been functionally straight. You probably would have just gone, well, I don't need to, I can just be straight, essentially, in practice, and have these feelings.
That is mainly relevant for where we...
same sex. It's like, well, I could do that, but like...
Dude, that is mainly relevant for when your society has outlawed homosexual
right.
acts.
So
and if you want to have kids, otherwise it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah, but it's just kind of weird for him to go like, oh, look, they outlawed it, but there were still some gays, and it's like, and when he's saying like it was a big problem, is this like relative to what? Is this like like an actually large number? Is it particularly larger percentage than today, or is it just they saw it as a big problem because they didn't like it? They didn't like the idea. They were just
the way this guy makes it out to be. The way this guy makes it out to be, it sounds like some giant number, like 20% of something, or even more. I doubt that was the case.
My feeling is that I suspect that even if it was like only like I don't know, like 0.5%, people are like a minuscule number. They would still be very disgusted by it just because that was like the culture at the time. That they just
homosexuality is a couple single digit percent that is the case. However, you have a few more things going on, and the for example, the Greek model of apprentice, their apprentice model, it wasn't always sexual in nature. So, this guy makes it out to be that it's always that, and it's then almost that it's about that, but that's not the case.
But that might also be the translation issues as well.
Yeah, he's distorting the picture into his favor. And for example, the quote he read that talks of the love you have in your breast. Yeah, the word breast was interchangeably used. Today we would use chest, because in the English language, the word breast is slightly more somewhat more associated with the female breast, with the memories.
Yeah, somewhat, no.
In the German language, we still say Brust for both the male and the female. We don't have another word to distinguish between the male and female breast. If we want to refer to the female breast, we say the female breast, literally, die weibliche Brust. Otherwise, we use all the slang words like tit or any of these other, or boob, or any of those. But you don't use those in poetry very much.
Have you seen
At
that
least not in good poetry.
Do you know the VTuber Nyanners? She has this video where she just says all these different words for tits. It's pretty funny. It's like 50 seconds long. I thought it was pretty funny. Alex Halo probably knows what I'm talking about.
That makes two of you.
Breast, booba, milkies, big mommy milkies.
Wait, no, three, because Zach is also into that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm not in the same category as Zach. Oh, dear.
Pick your poison.
At least I'm not French.
Sorry,
Included among the Janissaries, who were Christian slave soldiers. For 19th century sailors, there was
Wait. Did you just admit that Christians were taken as slaves?
Yes, he did, because it was about the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
And what were the Ottomans?
Muslims?
Well, who knows? He's probably
oh my god! Reparations!
They kind of raped us, so yeah.
No?
Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath, because I'm still waiting.
More importantly,
I'm still waiting
I
for the
just thought I'd
Italians to
ask,
pay their
I mean,
reparations to Britain.
If you don't ask, you don't get anything. So, just in case, they might change their minds and give us reparations.
But honestly, like, the Ottomans were pretty chill with the countries that they occupied, because at least, on the contrary to those Germans, I mean Austrians, fake Germans, they allowed you to have any kind of religion you wanted to, and less taxes as well.
It depends. How the Ottomans treated their slaves depends a lot on where you ended up.
Wow, I can't believe we're actually on about how they treated a slave. Doesn't matter how you treat a slave; they're still a slave. The semantics don't mean shit. It's still slavery.
I don't know. I think
it's still not.
What I mean, what I mean with differences is whether they cut off your balls or not.
Well,
yeah. I mean, definitely.
Cool. Okay.
The Arabs definitely cut off their balls.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. I'm just saying that a slave's still a slave, no matter how nice it is.
I mean,
but they get kebabs.
I'm not talking about nice.
So you like if they were doing like literal munching, but technically they're asleep. Like they literally the only thing they have to do is like this tiny task, and then the whole rest of the time they're in like a fucking.
Well, that's not a slave. That's not a slave. Then.
Well, if they
That's not a
still
slave.
have to do anything they're told to do, if they're told to do it, then they're still a slave. Like they're still a
What?
slave.
So then you're a slave.
So,
to
so
your
it's
job.
just never exercised. The right is just never exercised.
But
they're still a
yeah,
slave.
but like you've got a job, which would be classed as that. So you're saying that having a job is also like being a slave.
Not really, because I can quit the job at any time. You can't quit being a slave.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just taking it to the extreme.
You
know
could
what I'm
in some
saying?
Viking
I'm taking the
in some Viking tribes you could.
I'm just saying, like, in
You
terms
could
of
work off the debt, and then you
principle
could
is
be
one
free.
thing, but I think it.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is being a slave. It shouldn't really come down to we should never say a slave could have a good. It's like no one should be a slave. So that's just my.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Sure, but
And I didn't. I hope I didn't accidentally say something like that.
Oh yeah, no,
but I did not want to
no.
apply.
I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm just arguing with an Irish guy because I've insulted enough French people already. So might as well
I
give them
just
the
mean
next lot.
I just mean there's bad and then
you.
there's bad
I'm
shit.
joining the IRA. Fuck you.
I thought you already were part of it. I thought all Irish people were.
I'm fucking Northern Irish. You fucking English bastard.
What's the difference?
The difference is the Northern Irish fucking based and read built. And we have
Still Irish,
fucking
so.
Orange Order parades and shit. Like if I put up an Irish flag,
Speaking of Irish,
in my house,
Message
outside
coming
my
in.
house, I would get a fucking
Patch it
brick
through.
through my window.
Oh my god!
Like,
You have French people living near you as well.
but yeah, like so yeah. I did actually live in the south for a while. I lived in the Republic of Ireland for a while, growing up.
And then you got tired of living in the 17th century, so you've moved up to the north.
Yeah, I moved up to the north to the 16th century.
How dare you say that? How?
I'm saying that as a good thing. I'm saying that that's how based they are.
Here
You can
is
tell. You can tell we're really taking this video seriously.
well, we're trying to. Here's Strawman. Guy has made a video about the no homo defense. What? A defense?
What? No homo is a perfect way not to be gay. I don't know what everyone's on about here.
There's a
But
defense.
quite honestly, like the guy also made a video on the Wizard of Oz and its hidden political agenda.
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph.
How the... What a shit thing.
It's a metaphor for democracy.
Oh my god! Wes, were you pouring some drink?
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz is a metaphor for democracy because it's you think it's going to give you all your answers, but it's really someone who's it's putting on a show to make you think.
I ran out of whiskey, so it has to be rum, which is at least fitting with the picture.
Huh.
Huh. Why? Yeah.
All right. Well,
The Irish is fake Scottish. Listen here, you piece of fucking shit. I swear to
Oh my
fuck.
God.
The Scottish
I feel
are
sorry-
literally Irish. The Scottish are
I feel sorry
literally
whoever put that.
the Irish.
That comment.
Okay, they literally are people who came from Ireland to Scotland, right? There's the people.
Who are you talking to right now?
Someone in chat said the Irish are fake Scottish.
Oh.
Okay, the Irish came first. The Scottish are descended from ancient Irish. Fuck you, dude.
Oh, something similar is true about the Japanese. There's an interesting
Oh my
history
God,
behind that.
that was the most I've ever seen Dollface like get interested in an actual argument. Oh no! Listen here, you fucking cunt.
Like, listen here. I bet you're fucking French, you fucking.
Oh, this is surprisingly good. Nice. The last room I had was horrible. This stuff is fine.
You listen here. Just because I've got a pot of gold that you
No,
can't fucking get your
listen
hands on.
Hoity. What's the situation?
I can't talk.
Yeah.
I'm 1/8 Irish, so.
Situation.
Well,
All right.
we're almost
All right,
half
I have
done.
my room. We can go on.
No, yeah, we're almost half
Nigora,
done,
tis
yeah.
another potato famine. So it is.
Oh, kiss me, I'm Irish.
Why are you so obsessed with the Mexican roots?
The Mexican roots? What?
Is that like a
Don't-
Mexican version of the band that did
No,
that
don't-
song in Ice Age?
Don't potatoes come from Mexico?
No.
No.
No, they're
No.
not from Mexico, but no, we didn't have potatoes in Ireland for most of its history. Potatoes came from South America.
Yeah.
I thought they were from the Mexican area.
I like it's somewhere. I think is it not Peru?
Yes.
Isn't it Peru?
It's down in the South American continent.
Yeah, it's from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, sadly,
Yeah,
this
I
isn't
think we mostly eat like oats and shit.
This
Oats
is
and like milk and butter and.
Yes, it's Peru. We can move on.
we can go on, guys. It's okay. It's all right. We got enough history to go through in this video.
Have
It
we?
was an
History of
entire
gay.
euphemism for the trade in sexual intercourse among themselves. It was called the boom cover trade.
So
This joke
That is
gone
too
on
long.
far too long.
And we can find
all
that
of his
answer
jokes
to
go on
duplicate
way
it.
too
Okay, I'll tell. I know what's going on. Remember cartoon lady that is obsessed with the gay and sees the gay everywhere?
oh, which
Oh,
one?
This
no.
is the same, but a
You're gonna have to
professor.
specify that.
Exactly, it's the same thing.
Dolphy's like.
Wait,
you're
that
gonna
is
have to,
that is
like,
the cartoon lady.
He sees the same.
Which
He
one?
sees the same thing everywhere in history, and has to make justifications why there is even more gay or why it's and marries that with his weird philosophy of sophistry, if you will.
During the Gold Rush using literally the same terminology.
Oh well.
Another prominent example that like everyone's heard of is lesbian nuns. And actually the record seems to verify that.
Yes, and do you know why they were fucking each other? Because humans, if they don't have sex for a while, go insane and need to release that pressure. And sometimes masturbation is not enough for
Are
them.
you trying to say
And
that,
they need to be.
that people who don't have sex go insane? Well, I think I
Yes.
just found the problem for all SJWs. I'll write a book
Yes,
about it. I'll be fine.
Yes, the joke is when SJWs complain so much about, oh, the incels are so dangerous. Lots of SJWs are incels. That's where you get all these beta orbiters that do everything for the wife who they simp for,
I was going to say,
and never get anything from her.
I thought you were gonna say for the white man.
I was
Yeah, for the
just-
white
I-
man.
The B movie where he's like,
I was just looking
Hey,
for
for
the
the
word.
white
But the
man.
thing is, so for the nuns, so also humans need something. Humans need to be close. You need that to be sane, because that releases oxytocin and lots of other nice hormones that soothe you, that reduce inflammation in your body, that relieve stress. That's all super important. You will, if you sleep next to someone that you at least are neutral to, and so you don't need to like that person, but someone you don't perceive as a threat or are not repulsed by, just someone you are fine with company. And that doesn't mean sexual that you don't need to be sexual. You just it's enough if you sleep next to that person, and that already soothes you. That already gives you better sleep, unless the person is snoring. But that aside, the thing with these monasteries is that they also deprive people of touch. We need that once in a while. Even the most sociophobic person has these social batteries depleted at some point. Even introverts recharge when they're alone, but being lonely discharges even an introvert. And for an introvert, for an extrovert, it takes a few days, and the guy goes suicidal and insane. We've seen this in the beginning of this lockdown nonsense, and now after a year, you will start seeing the introverts also starting to go.
The introverts that I know have all gone absolutely fucking nuts.
Because introverts also, despite recharging when being alone, because they're exhausted when in too much social interaction, they still need social interaction once in a while, because that is still necessary. And with these monasteries, so you had some gay intercourse with the monks, yes, but you also had something more. There was often secret tunnels between the monk and the nun monasteries, and where they had then sex in the catacombs. And a very dark history of that is that in those tunnels,
catacombs.
Yeah, whatever. But that in those catacombs.
Oh wow! Okay.
You will find a lot of infant skeletons, a lot of infant remains, because the nuns, of course, got pregnant and needed to hide that, and so they hid the children they gave birth to, whether they aborted early or not, and killed the kids. Very, very Christian. All because of the celibacy nonsense. Because humans are not made for celibacy. Voluntary or involuntary, humans are not made for that.
That's true.
As long as you have a libido, and every healthy human has a libido, you will need to relieve that pressure at some point. It's not healthy to not to. So to use the claim that, oh, but the nuns fucked each other, ha 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 ha, this is so homosexual. No, pent up sexual tension.
Mm-hmm. Why do
so in short, religion is a mistake, and you should have sex.
Why it's the same with the prisoners.
How horny?
I also want to know, with this actual video, he's saying that it's all social construct. So I actually want to know what his actual point is. Because to be honest with you, he's not really said what his point is. He's just literally saying everything in the whole world is a
look at these
construct.
gay people.
Yeah, right now he just brings
social construct.
Right now, he just brings up one faulty example after the other to claim that homosexuality has been everywhere. Yeah, but that doesn't tell me that it's a social construct. That only tells me that it's a natural emergent thing, or rather that it maybe not even that, but that it always existed. Why ever that is the case, and what this guy does, this professor, is that he projects his own rebellion against society, against the oppressive heteronormative society, onto all instances of history.
Like a lot of these examples are just, look at these people in this abnormal situation where they had no interaction with like basically no opportunity to interact with the opposite sex. Oh, look, they did some gay shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is literally just like. Yeah, it's not like had there been a woman there, they'd gone, no, bro, I'm gonna fuck this guy. It's literally there's no women here.
Yeah,
I guess we're gonna have to fuck each other.
And it's just like, look, some of them did some gay shit. Okay.
Edith Brown's convents were notorious for their loose moral standards and for their sexual license, which is not surprising because they were less often the home of women with a strong religious vocation than warehouses for the discarded women of middle class and patrician families. Now there's a lot of debate as to how much these lesbians inside of convents reflected the world outside of them. But the fact
very little.
Look, here he makes a mistake. He calls them lesbians, and the point is that they are not necessarily lesbians, although they have homosexual sex. This is, if you look into the, I think sexology it's called that's been mapped out. prison sex between men is not considered homosexual due to it's only about release of sexual tension or about dominance, because the relevant areas in the brain that light up for attraction, for being aroused by the male figure, is not going on. That's not lighting up. That needs to light up for that. Which is also why, as someone mentioned the trap question at some point, being attracted to traps, a man being attracted to a trap is heterosexual, because the brain is aroused by all the female features. I mean, regardless of whether you see the dick or not.
Well, if you're specifically more,
that's the scientific that is the scientific definition, regardless of any social science bullshit. But if you're plain hard biological definition.
If you're specifically more attracted to traps than biological women, that's a little fucking gay. Like that's a
different thing. When it is
not just
let me finish. When it's about being attracted because it's a trap, because you know there is a dick, then it's called gynomorphophilia. That's the specific attraction to female features with a dick, which strangely enough still doesn't classify as homosexual. It's a bit strange. There's good literature on this. There's interesting data on this. Deborah So in her book The End of Gender has mentioned a lot of this there. She's put references in there. It's a good book. It's a quick read, so I can recommend that. There are bigger books on that, but this is a good primer, I think.
All right, are we ready, guys?
So yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. The trap question has been answered.
Yeah, we can continue.
All right.
Okay.
Remains, women turned to women for sexual gratification even when they were supposedly married to Jesus. For homosexuality to be a common alternative
but Jesus wasn't
to
around that
heterosexuality,
often.
there has to be some fluidity in these categories. They can be shaped over time.
What are you talking
Then
about
there's
fluidity?
the realm of domesticity. Here is where the realms of sexuality and gender tend to blend together because it's, the place where sexual orientation...
What? Okay, he's just making up words now. He's just... What is he talking about?
Can we just go back? Can we just go back a couple of seconds?
Can we listen to the entire sentence again?
The realm of domesticity. Here is where the realms of sexuality and gender tend to blend together because it's, the place where sexual orientation and gender identity meld with society. What's considered women's work has changed drastically over time. It might be utterly commonplace for men to cook in one culture and then in another for it to be almost...
No, everyone cooks. Everyone cooks. I don't know what you did in your dorm. Maybe you always just went to the cafeteria?
No, he went for fast food.
I'm sorry if you never learned to cook.
Always.
Just fucking hell.
He always ordered pizza.
That's your so pathetic. All the great cooks, men. All the great tailors, men. All the great artists, painters, men.
I like to say male Italians.
Mainly male Italians.
Yeah. We can.
Biased.
But we can even pull the frame a little closer. Yes. When Italy still was big in the arts. That's something to regain. Maybe that's something to regain. But I think this guy has just so little real sex drive that he doesn't understand what pent up tension is. And then when you have pent up, when have you woken up the last time with a boner? And that thing wouldn't the fuck go away.
This morning, but enough about me.
Yeah, and the bloody thing needs some attention. Otherwise, what the fuck? I need to go to work.
Oh, hi. How's your sex life?
Yeah, what the fuck?
How's that sex life?
Sex life.
Yeah, what the fuck? And then imagine you're stuck in a monastery for the next few decades of your life, and you're told to, oh, masturbation is better. You get hair on your hands, and yeah, at some point you need some relief, because then having sex with someone else is not masturbation, so that's okay, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the logic is with these people. But eventually, people wanna
logic.
Wanna get off their steam.
Not a word I'd use, really. To be brutally honest with you.
What?
Logic is not a word I'd use for these people.
I know. That's why it's sophistry and not philosophy. What these people do.
So he's saying here about, I guess, like gender roles and stuff, and they're radically different. Like, name me one fucking society where exclusively or almost entirely women are in charge of like the army and like defense and the men just don't involve themselves with that at all. Like, name one place where that's the case. Like it's
even with British queens, that's never happened.
Yeah, it's like in literally in the world, where is the case? You know, where is that the case in human society? It just seems like oh, look this specific like thing is see, this is different in different places, and it's like, but there's loads of things that are pretty similar in lots of different places where cultures that were kind of independent of each other, they still sort of got very similar gender roles, you know. So like there's sort of almost an inevitability of patriarchy in a sense, you know, because there are like the society in Japan, like, is very much like it became patriarchal, completely independent of like Christian Europe becoming patriarchal.
Even cut off from most of the world. Yeah.
So it's like there's a sort of inevitability of it. And I think it's kind of almost like a cultural Darwinism, where it was just beneficial and it was just an easier way. It just kind of ended up that way. Whereas if you tried to make like a matriarchal society, it just didn't handle patriarchal societies, and they just dominated because they were just more efficient. You know, and it's just sort of like this extreme like constructivism. It's like everything's constructed, and look how constructed it is. And you can even see like in like babies that they show differences in what toys they want to play with. You know, it's just kind of.
I think we need to ask them the counter question at some point. What is not socially constructed? Can you give me an example of what is not socially constructed? That's a question. I'm not asking you. It's not rhetorical. It's a question you need to answer. Ask these people.
It is rhetorical for us. You don't want an answer. Not rhetorical for them.
This was the ongoing joke I had with most people on Twitter who try to argue me, because I would just respond, well, that's just a social construct, as opposed to saying, well, that's just your opinion. Because everything I would say, which was an observation or a conclusion based on observations, they wouldn't consider, they wouldn't even process, as if I could have all these empirical values. They would be like, that's just your opinion. It's like, okay, well, then I'm going to do the same thing to you. So it's kind of a pointless debate with these people because they've already made up their minds. They already think describing things makes the thing a thing, as opposed to observing the thing and trying to describe the observation is the way to do it.
They're stuck in the 5-year-old's game of I define reality, I change the meaning of words, and therefore it becomes that, and I win.
It's a bit silly to even start to engage with. Once you describe this process to them, they're like, well, I'm not doing that. This is just my feelings on the matter. It's like, I don't really care about your feelings on the matter. I want to know why this thing is bad or good, not because it made you feel good or bad. That's a different thing.
It's weird. Like, this stuff is the same motivation as the film criticism stuff. It's the same sort of like, we're just going to completely deconstruct everything and completely destroy the meaning of words.
It's like using a lens that has a filter. And this is the problem we have with these people who use whatever lens they're using. In this case, the guy is using history, and he happens to be talking about sexuality or whatever exactly. I'm still waiting for a point. That's why I've been very quiet. I was like, okay, stuff happened in the past where people were homosexual. It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and he's already going to the next assertion, so he's still not making the real explanation of why any of this is a social construct. And in that regard to this definition game I meant, if you had to deal with 5-year-olds, whether your own or that of friends, or were visiting, and they were at that around that age, 3 to 5, I'd say. When they figured out that this is how rules work. So I define myself as when mom says, stop jumping around on the couch, and you need to go to sleep. And then the kid will say, no, I'm the mother now and you are the child. So you have to go to sleep. So for the child that may work, because it's the child is learning how definitions work, how lying works, and all of this stuff. And well, you need to put a stop to this at some point.
To a kid's vocabulary.
I feel like kids but always think they're the first person to come up with the idea of lying. Like they think they invented it. Like nobody else has lied before they
but
did.
because
like,
the child has invented.
I figured out
in a way,
and nobody else knows about this lying thing. You know?
Yeah, but the point where I'm trying to get at is the child keeps playing around, and the parents usually let it indulge for a few minutes, and then a good counter to that is, yeah, but if you're the mother now, then you need to do the dishes now. Because that's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And then the child suddenly returns to, no, you're the mother, I'm the child. Because the kid wants to do the easier
shit on
thing.
the floor, you're like, okay, you have to clean it up. I'm just a child. I don't know.
Well,
I can't clean that up. You just fucking shit on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. But look, that is
your idea of what kids do is amazing.
I'm just like, but you could just do that and just go, well, I mean, how am I supposed to know any better? I'm just a kid.
Yeah, but look, that's how. Look, that is the point. That is how a child of that age acts,
funny, man.
and that is how these people still act, who redefine everything the way they need it in the very moment, and then completely switch positions the moment it's in their favor to switch positions completely, where they have no principles. And this is what we talk about when we talk about narcissistic personality disorder. They're stuck at that age in some form or another.
I don't even know.
Correct me where I'm wrong.
Hey Jake. I am a pirate, man. Choo choo boo boo. Watch me dance voo voo. Smud, get ready for a tickle tickle from the butt goblins.
Oh God.
What the fuck, Jake?
Jake, are
What
you
exactly do you mean by butt goblins? Butt goblins are a social construct.
But it's butt goblins.
But goblins.
Goblins. I don't like them.
all right. That's. I'm still waiting for an actual argument here. So
I don't think you're allowed to call them butt goblins these days. That seems gross.
It will all come full circle, Smud, by the end of the stream.
Oh, yeah.
I believe in Jake.
I know.
That makes fun of us.
Now let's see how he throws the genders into the blender.
Yeah.
Almost prohibited. When horses were introduced onto the American Great Plains by the Spanish, mostly accidentally actually, Great Plains Indian culture changed significantly, and women
they went from living to
increasingly
dead.
relegated to work that they hadn't done before.
Yeah,
and
because
men
they were
increasingly
completely
focused
underdeveloped.
on hunting and fighting. But there were always people who were crossing that boundary, often as a very clear sign of sexual orientation. You see,
I'm glad you're
they
showing
signaled
Little
their
Big Man from
sexuality
1970.
by whether or not they were more domestic. Returning to
Wait a second. You're talking about animal husbandry made them more domestic, therefore they're homosexual more?
Yes.
What?
Animals.
No. Therefore, if they were gay, they did more of the women-y stuff that women did.
I still don't understand how at the home
How does this
the
prove that
genders blend and What?
Introducing horses created the horse dick for wash. So yeah.
What?
Oh,
It
thank
just makes
God.
assertions.
Fucking hell. It's all connected.
It just makes assertions without anything behind it. What is this shit?
Well, like, now that you said that, I'm thinking about, what is it, that meme with, is it Always Sunny? With like the wall with all the wires and just all leads to horse cock.
yeah.
Horse cock and gayness.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I apologize if you can. I apologize if you can hear some rustling in the background. I'm eating some fairy cakes, and I can't get to the packet.
All right.
Fucking I'm
What the fuck?
I'm getting a pair of scissors. Hold on.
Okay.
Use a teeth, goddammit.
All right, we're gonna keep going.
California Gold Rush, people's journals are littered with references to men having to take on more and more domestic jobs.
So
And their want for
Because
women
there was no women there, you fucking moron.
meant that men had to take on more and more of what they considered women's work.
What? Dude, have you been on a ship?
Can I just ask a question? Do you think that men shrivel up at the idea of cooking and cleaning?
So
This
you know,
is
It's not a fucking foreign concept.
We have-
Island.
we
I
have-
just think Long John Silver. He's fucking gay.
we
He's
have
fucking gay. Bro.
the
He's
military.
What do you need to do?
Fucking gay,
If you, what do you think happens if you go on a hike? If you make a lonely adventure thing at vacation in the woods, you'll have to do everything yourself. That is what men usually do when they're in the wilds,
Yeah,
and they usually make it work. Well, there are exceptional women who do, but most don't. There are very there was what's the name of the show? One of these live reality TV shows with people on an island. They put teams.
I hope you're not.
and-
I hope you're not talking about the program that I think you're talking about, because that was embarrassingly bad.
I'm probably talking about that. Because the program was accused of being misogynist because they only ever had men. And then I thought, okay, we'll do a thing with a male group and an all-male group and an all-female group.
Mhm.
Or whatever the reason was that led to that.
The island with Bear Grylls,
Yeah.
where the women island almost starved to death.
They didn't just almost starve to
Message
death,
coming in.
they dehydrated
Message.
twice.
Yeah, we need to get.
They had to
we need to
intervene
have,
for dehydration twice. They had to
yeah,
intervene for
the
food.
camera crew had to airlift food in.
Oh, that's so
their
fucking
island.
funny.
They had
And
to,
the women went,
they had to
well,
give
if we're,
them
if we're
little.
doing so bad, the men must be doing really bad, and the men are there eating a fucking alligator.
They had to give them. They had to give
they've
them
made a
3
fucking
piglets.
4-story hotel. They're just like they're just chilling.
They had to
They're
give
gonna
them.
hold- yeah.
They had to give them piglets that looked like they were randomly on the island, which is very unlikely. And so the
no,
piglets
but that's not the piglet.
didn't fear the women. What?
No. The piglet. They didn't even kill the piglets. They kept them as
Yes,
pets.
they took them as pets. And then when they
And then they had to feed the piglets.
yeah, they had too little food for themselves, but they still fed the piglets because they were so cute. And then when they moved on from that part of the beach to another to find more food, they left the piglets behind.
Yeah.
And when the one woman in that group that had an actual that was actually useful, but they didn't allow her to be a leader because they wanted to do this communist bullshit.
Yeah, they had
actually,
votes, and they kept having an equal amount of votes, because most people say, "I'm just voting. I don't know."
Yes, it was completely useless. And then that one woman actually managed to kill one of the pigs because she had a spine. But the other women who wanted to eat didn't want to kill the pig, but they still wanted to eat. So this is where I hate vegans. When you want to and meat eaters both. When you want to eat the meat, and you are in that situation, you should be able to kill the fucking pig, and not just have others do for you, you fucking pussy.
To be honest with you, the whole program got off on a bad foot when the women got lost for 4 days in a wood.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant
with a map.
So they didn't even. So then they didn't eat the whole pig. So therefore, oh, let's preserve the meat by using one of their 2 buckets and bury it halfway so that it stayed cool. And the meat just got bad. Oh, what a surprise! The buckets were supposed to be used for water filtration.
Oh my word!
What did they do with the gone bad meat? They dumped it somewhere in the forest. And what did they do with the bucket it was in? Left it there. So they only had half the buckets for water filtration.
Oh my word!
Absolutely retarded. And in the very beginning, they split the party. So one went for foraging, exploration, and they put both medical experts and a doctor and a nurse into the exploration group, and had no health experts in the group that stayed behind. The group that stayed behind had a medical emergency.
Yep.
And the group that went out got lost for a couple of days and went in circles on that tiny island.
Yeah. Oh, it was
absolutely brilliant.
Hilarious. It was wonderful.
And they starved and they dehydrated twice almost. The camera team then had to intervene, give them resources, and what did the women do afterwards? Sunbathe and go swimming. And the camps of the 2 groups, the camp of the men was very efficient, organized, worked. Their water was fine, brilliant. They had even managed to build a fish net to increase their fishing capacities. Took a few days.
Yeah.
And the women's group, well, their camp was made nice.
No,
it had ornaments
nice
there.
To start with. No. But they didn't put any coverings for the rain because they didn't think it would rain on the island.
It's just brilliant.
So they got wet the first. They got wet the first night, like completely.
It's just
soaked.
Absolutely brilliant. So if you've got
to watch it
before you. Yeah, it's wonderful. And the important thing is to note that all the people, the men and the women, got a 2-week survival training before that. So you can't argue that they were ignorant about everything. They were just
and the people who were on it, and the men weren't like these buff, masculine, like chads and everything. You had accountants and IT experts and stuff. So it wasn't like
Yeah. And they did have different personality types. There was a clash between the leader guy who said we are low on resources, and he was pissed at the guy who wanted to make the fish nets because he thought that was a waste of time. But the guy who made that, he was the creative type and the one who has ideas and thinks a lot. And of course, when you're low on resources, that always looks like a waste. But he made it work. He stuck to it. And he got he got the respect of the leader after that, because suddenly they didn't have 3 fish per day, but 26.
Yeah, but also we also had the situation where all their fire stuff had got wet, like the lights and stuff, and one guy used his glasses to magnify the sun to start a fire.
Okay, I didn't know that one. So I only watched the compilation. I didn't watch the whole series.
It was really cool because this young lad I felt like he wasn't doing anything, and they were struggling with this fire. He went, "Oh, hang on, I know what I can do with this," and he just said, "Let's just try it." So,
yeah, and in the summary afterwards, the producer of the show or whoever he is, the one in charge, He didn't say it because he meant it. He said it because he didn't want the feminist mob behind him, of course. That he believed that, he's sure that the women were doing really well, and within a week they would probably figure it out. They were already dead twice.
All right.
They were already dead twice. So it's not meant. Men don't get icky because, oh no, I have to cook now. Oh god, it's so female. Oh, I'm turning gay if I start to cook. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's very weird argument. This whole this is why I really doubt there's things like femininity and masculinity with the stuff, what they think it is. Because
this is the thing. The people with the big stereotypes about the sexes, that's these communists. They have the big stereotypes about the sex.
It's just very weird to me, but
Okay.
They're the big racists.
We can continue.
Here's Jake the Surgeon. Horses existed in North America before Europeans.
Well,
Paleolithic,
way before Europeans.
Paleolithic tribes existed alongside them before their extinction and reintroduction. So yeah, all these organisms were pretty much doing their thing and managed to survive all this time.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Horses, the horses that existed in America before Europeans were being hunted by saber-toothed tigers. That's how long ago we're talking. So
Yeah, way before. Like, it's not like they had them and then they
it wasn't 1426 when they disappeared.
No, they were extinct for a long time before that. Like the Amerindians weren't like, horses, we know what those are. We have those. Because they didn't have those at that time. They weren't when they first had contact with Europeans and their horses. It was like, we don't really have those, like, because they
thought the first Europeans were attached to the horses. That's true.
In return, many of them went to that boom cover trade to fulfill their sexual desires. Our stark divide of separate spheres is something that had to be constructed over time, and then only recently people started naturalizing it as though it's always been that way.
You've made that up! You've completely made that up! What the fuck? That was completely made up!
I thought you said anti-sodomy laws existed thousands of years ago. What?
No, he just said people constructed these things and then naturalized them, not the other way around. How do you prove that? Where's your proof of anyone making up these? What? You're just lying.
Yes.
You're just turning the reality upside down. You're not using a single razor. Not Occam's, not Hitchens,
not Keith's or anything.
You're just making up shit. You are worse than the fucking creationists. At least they can point to their Bible and try to derive something from it.
You're have just nothing. Lying, you are. You're telling porky.
You have nothing. You don't even have a canonically constructed, by the way, book. You have nothing. You just have New Age stuff. Like, this is from the 90s.
You have nothing, good sir.
But it's
absolutely nothing on you.
Poppycock. This is poppycock.
Like, what do you fucking mean? They're obviously identified as different, and there's no place where heterosexuality hasn't been the norm, right? It's always the norm, right? Then you take these extreme, like, odd situations where, oh, look, there were these men and there weren't very many women or any women where they were at that time in this time and place in history, and so they did some gay stuff. And it's like, but so, like, it like, that doesn't prove anything about the distinction. It's like, what do you, this hard distinction, it's so, like, what do you fucking mean? Like, huh?
Here is Jake the Surgeon. This guy having a silver play button makes me the big sad as I struggle to even get monetization. Well,
I can understand that.
I'm sorry, Jake, but
just gotta.
You kind of deserve the lack. Yeah. No, sorry. Carry on, Jake. Carry on. Do what you want to do.
Well, just keep making content, guys, and eventually someone will like it. Yeah. Just be consistent and be focused on one topic, and you'll be fine.
This guy is claiming that heterosexual society was first codified by law. By what fucking law? There's nothing. The first written law that we can trace back. The first written law that we can trace back is Hammurabi, and there's nothing about that in there.
Like, why?
So, and if you want to make claims about oral laws and traditions before that, good luck on finding proof for that. What about, and then we get into the whole evolutionary thing where we come from initially. Then we're starting to talk about non-human animals. We're talking about our next ancestors, our next cousins, our next evolutionary cousins, and we're talking about all the other fucking species.
Let's actually see what
Did they make up?
I want to see what he's referring to, because he's talking about women in the 1830s, apparently, to 64 in Britain.
In human history, that was yesterday.
Women in, what was it, 1830 to 1864? Women weren't doing a lot in Britain at that point.
Unequal privileges.
You want to talk about Celtic society? It's a bit further back.
I want to know where he's going, because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
he's trying to prove something here.
Of domains are codified by law and then naturalized by repetition. Probably the most stark example of this is the very name that we gave our own animal kingdom, mammals.
Wait. What does that have anything to do
Hold
with?
on.
Why
Hold
the
on.
fuck
Hold on.
can you
Hold
say
on,
that unironically, dude? How the
We are getting into fucking.
what?
Dude,
the actual
whatever magical
fuck?
thoughts you have in your head, you do not know how to
Isn't it
articulate
literally
them to
just-
other people.
Isn't it literally just because they have mammary glands? Is it like mammals, like mammary glands? Isn't that the idea?
That's the idea.
It's that fucking simple. Like, what are you fucking? What? Fuck's sake.
Okay, yeah, I know. I refer to a lot of SJWs as disgusting lizard people, but that's because I just can't believe they're human. So.
He went through all those books behind him, and this is the result. Like,
Did he though? Or
No.
did he just-
I'm not convinced at this point that it's just a fucking
He looked at the spines of all those books and went, "Yes, I know what video I'm going to make."
One of the one on his like left shoulder, like that fucking cover is like torn up.
Yeah, that's been distracting me all the time.
Yes, like probably all of them are just second or
some
third
of the
hand
books have some nice
copies.
pictures, so I don't know.
Four of them don't even have.
Oh, it's
pages
all
in it.
also as he made this scenic zoom out. He was implying that all the books are somehow about sexuality, and if he's this deep in this field, then they may just be all about his weird delusional ivory tower parallel reality bubble of sexuality that has nothing to do with reality. This is basically that all of that is fiction. I'm at the point where I want to put all of this communist stuff, like back in the day, atheists made a joke of putting the Bible into the fantasy part in a bookshop, in a bookstore. I'm at the point where I want to put all this communist and postmodernist stuff, take it out of philosophy and put it in fiction.
When Linnaeus was creating the modern form of taxonomy, which science still uses today, he of course had to give names to the various animal kingdoms. At the time that Linnaeus was doing this, there was a craze sweeping Europe that was emphasizing mothers breastfeeding their own childs rather than wet nurses
Children.
and whatnot. And people
Did he just use the wrong plural?
Their own childs.
Childs.
Did you what?
Well, plurals are a social construct. And,
Words are
what do you
social
mean?
They had
What do you
one
mean by
child policy.
correct? What do you mean by correct plural? That is, what do you?
Yeah,
what
as
do
we
you
know
mean
from
by
the use of
that?
pronouns,
Language
what
is
do you mean?
fluid.
What do you mean
Language
by
is
1712 to 1778? What do you mean by that?
As
That's
we know from the
Even
use
This is actually a math problem.
from the use of
have to.
pronouns, these people don't really know what a singular and a plural is. So what the fuck?
All right.
Rousseau pushed it so hard that he wrote it into his philosophy. So what did Linnaeus coin as our animal kingdom's name? That's right. He named us mammals because mammaries.
That bastard!
He was
Wow.
trying to push for
Yeah.
breastfeeding.
What the fuck?
Who
kind of
push for breastfeeding?
retarded
Idiot!
fucking-
You're absolute.
It's literally just accurate. Like, what do you fucking mean? That is literally just accurate to the category of mammals. That is literally
It
just
is one of the
useful
biggest common
to define
denominators.
them. What the fuck kind of retarded logic is this, dude? Like, oh, it was his agenda. He wanted to
Yeah, we have
breastfeed it.
a
Oh
couple
my
exceptions. Yeah, but that's normal. You have fuzzy borders and all of that.
Oh my
Damn
But
fucking
fucking hell,
platypuses.
you are this is this insinuation that people are pushing for the usage of this is
How
insane.
insidious.
It's
How
project-
insidious.
No, I tell
Yeah.
it's insidious
sake,
and it
that's
is
so insidious.
insane and it is projection.
Holy shit, man.
It's absolutely projection because it's people like him who are pushing for everything and whatnot. He's pushing that we accept his definitions of everything.
There are other reasons for or definitions of mammals. It's not just because we have females who have the capabilities of producing milk. So,
It's also giving birth to living offspring.
oh yeah, there's all kinds. There's like I just checked it right now. They have a neocortex.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
certain kinds of hair. They have certain middle and was it ear bones? Certain styles of ear bone. Like there's all kinds of definitions for this. Then there's subclasses like marsupials and whatever. So
Then you have a couple of weird exceptions like platypuses.
sure. So this is not difficult. We just look at the definitions, figure out why they're used that. We don't see women as purely functional or men as purely functional, but that's what science does anyway when you're talking about the animal kingdom. They say, why do we define organisms a certain way? How they reproduce, their features, where they are, what they do, how they behave, how they locomote, all these things. This is
And
These
fine.
people are fucking
That's the-
allergic to the idea of categories. Like literally just categorizing anything ever. And it's like, dude, it's literally just handy. It's useful. It's just useful to do. It just means you don't have to explain every single thing about every single thing every single time. It's just they're in this category, and that tells you something without having to go into this great detail about every single aspect of that thing. You can go, okay, well, this is a mammal, and that can give you a general idea of what to expect.
Yeah, and through better scientific understanding, we got better definitions. We found more common traits within this group, and these socialists and communists, they push for the eradication of all borders between all categories because they want everything to be equal, everything to be the same, everything to be just a gray blob. Because only then there will be peace.
It just seems
and
like they attribute
prosperity.
all this
It's
malice,
insane.
just the idea of having a category. Like they attribute all of this malice and oppression or whatever just to the idea of saying this is a useful category. This is a category that is handy to use, and it's
No. It's not because of a category. It's because of as long as there are different categories, there will be strife and conflict between the categories. So we have to get rid of all the categories, and that until there's either only one or none. Only then can there be peace. That is the idea behind it all.
Yeah, because if there's a difference, it necessarily means that they're going to be like worse in some way. It's not necessarily like making a value judgment, but it's like red is less like blue than purple or something like that. It doesn't say any value judgment. It's objectively true, right? It's just objectively true that red is less like blue than purple, right? It's like so, like it's that kind of thing where it's like saying that okay, mammals generally breastfeed compared to like lizards or something, and it's like okay, and like it's like can we not say that? Is that not useful to talk about?
It's just a social construct, Dolphase.
Yeah,
I don't understand why you don't get it.
And they also don't understand the issue of fuzzy borders, especially in biology, where you just have these things that go a little bit between the categories, because that's something sometimes how evolution goes. That's how things in evolution transition from one phase to the next, and you have to draw the line somewhere. And so sometimes some things are a little bit on the edges. And they always use these edge cases as justification for the categories don't make sense. Let's get rid of the category. It's the same thing they do with the trans thing. The trans thing is at the edge of the categories, so or it looks that way to them. So they use that as justifications to get rid of the categories.
Yeah, I mean, it literally has to be like almost in their mind like 100% typological, or else it's not useful at all. Even if like more than like 75% of the time, you can accurately say what category that is with pretty much no disagreement, from anyone else.
I've
Look, this is a
I've just got some. I've just gained some information, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I've gained some really interesting information. Cypher, the guy we're covering, isn't actually a professor or a teacher. He's still a student.
Oh,
Law.
at least that.
That explains a lot.
At least that.
Yeah. So that was Inquisitor Matthews telling me, and Matthews is Brazilian, so I believe a lot what he says.
All right, let's keep going.
Cool.
Yeah, even the name mammals is actually political. It had to
My
be built over time,
Oh,
and it's
God.
written into the
How
very words
the
that we
fuck?
consider scientific today.
How the fuck? What the fuck? What? How the fuck? What? What the what?
Another assertion, and he will not explain
What?
it.
How is it political? What?
Everything is political, man.
How the
He-
fuck?
It was also
everything's
because,
political,
I
nothing
don't-
will
he
be.
must have some weird definition of political to make that work. That he's not sharing with us.
Like,
Identifying humans as mammals is political
holy
because
shit, dude.
what the koala bears were,
Holy fuck.
secretly trying to take over the world. I don't know what this is. I don't
Bro,
know what
it's-
this is about.
Huh? But what? It's just mammals breastfeed. Wow, that's pretty political, bro. Like what? What the fuck?
Yep.
You see, when Caesar crossed Rubicon,
This is
The
just,
Rubicon a
this is
fuzzy border?
I just
Oh, man. What the fuck, dude?
The top level is political. My fucking ass.
How did we get from talking about
Why the fuck, bro?
sexual
Where's
orientation?
Plato?
That's definitely in the bingo card, right? That everything is political.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's definitely in
Yeah.
the political. Yeah.
This falls under that. This falls under that.
Is this
Fucking-
his motivation to get to this point? Because I'm like, where are we going? Because I'm waiting for him to say something of value, and I'm just like,
that fucking essay that came from the
Wow.
the personal is political from 1969. That's the fucking bane of my fucking existence. That
Yeah.
is like one of the worst things to ever have been published.
Yeah. It's an evil trick. It's one of the most sinister tricks.
Oh my god.
Whoever makes the private political wants to control the private.
It's every single thing you do could be oppressive in some way. It's just like, oh my fuck.
That's what if you say that thing is political, that means you want to have a say in how it is to be conducted.
Yeah.
In what it is.
Yep.
And if everything's political, that means you wanna control in everything.
all I know.
And that is pretty
I
authoritarian.
found
That's
yeah.
not anarcho.
To be honest with you, I'm only just in the
Anarchistic?
fact that I managed to find those scissors and I'm now eating cake.
Anarchy?
So I'm happy. Nita Sarkeesian? Oh my god.
No, I just don't. I didn't have that much room, but I wonder what is the right word. Is it anarcho? Is it anarchistic? Or is it even anarchist? Anarchist. That sounds fun. Let's use that one.
Fucking dumb.
I mean, these people don't care about the correct words. So why should I?
let me just rewind just to make sure.
I just like to call it immense faggotry. So let's just.
Yeah, let's just hear it again.
Is actually political. It had to be built over time, and it's written into the very words that we consider scientific today. But well into the 19th century, these were still fluid.
So, okay, let me just clarify.
Yeah.
He thinks this is a political terminology because women breastfeed.
Because the guy who made the word thought that mothers should breastfeed their own children instead of wet nurses.
who would also be women.
That's the
No, he
point.
probably thinks that because
Yeah, but here's the thing: there was wet nurses.
trans
They were
women
women.
breastfeed, and then it's a male breast or some nonsense.
Good lord, dude.
People are insane. And I think they're deliberately insane. They're intentionally insane.
It's literally just describing a trait that most mammals
That
have.
all these animals who are what are similar have. It's an overriding similarity. Overarching. I mean, overarching similarity. Yeah, it's like it helps you.
It's a common denominator.
What would like? I suppose he doesn't think there is a possible non-political definition or a non-political word to use for the category.
Is vertebrae political?
Well,
Well, it is because that's implying that you should have a spine.
let's imagine that. Let's imagine that some women don't want to breastfeed for whatever reason. Someone's got to feed the kids, so it doesn't matter whether it's a breast or a bottle or whatever.
They still have the organs.
But Smud, why didn't the women in the 1600s use just formula milk? God.
And I still had the organs, and after giving birth, those organs are filled with milk, and that milk better go somewhere. You get inflammation, and that is very, very, very horrible.
Breastfeeding
what?
By the way,
I'll spare you the.
Why didn't the people of the past just use the technology we invented today? It's just so simple. Why don't we just get the flip phones? Jesus fucking Christ! Why don't you just get the smartphones and look up what best formula to use?
I thought you were going to say like nipple clamps or something weird like that. So
nipple clamps? No. I'm not Joe crazy.
Because they only had modems and the internet was so slow.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta interrupt and we have to clarify something. Matthias just told me that Cypher isn't communist, which I think all of us knew, because it was the previous guy, the movie Bob lookalike, who had
we had the flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
But just so Chet can calm down.
He's communist adjacent. Okay, he's a fucking. He's the enemy. I don't know how else to put it. He's the enemy as far as I'm concerned.
These two guys believe in the same nonsense, in the same ideology that has the same roots, that has the same goals. And personally, from where I come from,
this is Frankfurt.
I grew up in East Germany. If you can hate me for that as much as you want, I do not care anymore about making a distinction between socialists and communists, because they both lead to the same fucking tyranny. They say different things.
Oh well.
But they go the same way, the same direction, at different speeds. One hops over a stone, the other hops over a brook. They get to the same place.
Well, I like to say, on behalf of all women, I see nothing wrong with having breasts. There's nothing political about them. So let them be free, is what I say.
Share the show, guys. Let them be free. # boobs free.
Yeah.
Or mammals free.
No bra Friday.
Let the mammals be free. There we go.
Mammals, get your mammary glands.
You.
Okay.
If you want to be free, be free.
Let's see what else he's got to say.
Categories. People were able to slip between womanhood, sodomy, and manliness with ease. But some of these terms were designed to alienate people. Because,
designed?
For instance,
I don't even know what that means. Womanhood to sodomy?
It means intention. He again alleges intention. I think this guy has a Okay, what was that? Hanlon's razor? That he's also not using. He is every time he's insinuating that there's intention, he's insinuating malice.
Oh, you're implying he's ignorant.
Everything
has to be done on purpose. All these things are constructed deliberately.
I want to know why you have to go from womanhood to sodomy to manhood. Oh, yeah, masculine. Seems like, why is sodomy even being included here? I just want to know.
just says this is so and this is so and this is so. This guy is a preacher. This guy is a preacher who tells that 500 years ago, angels with wings on their heads and their ankles came down from the heavens, and they raped this goat, and therefore we must.
I'm sorry, Wisp. I was with you, but why would angels have wings on their ankles? It just seems very.
Have you never read the Bible?
Yeah, well,
it's a very interesting book.
So the Bible is called asterisks.
You should read it when you're on something. Then you get into the spirit.
I should read it when I'm on something. Okay.
It was written when someone was on something. Otherwise, you can't make this shit up.
Okay, here's Mike Testa. It's yes, it's true. This man has no Johnson.
I understood that reference.
Oh. I'm sorry if I offended the nice Christians, but what the fuck? What the fuck? Have you read your book? That's some Lovecraftian shit in there. Holy hell!
Have you read your book? Hold on, we didn't write it. We just read it. Thank you very much.
That's why.
Go on.
That's why I really love this. Is very.
Well, listen, Christians might be bad, but at least not brain dead cultists like Harry Potter fans.
I'll keep the sidetrack. I'll keep the sidetrack for next.
All right.
We're running out of time.
Became homosexuality in the 19th century. As Michel Foucault says, homosexuality appeared as one of the forms of sexuality when it was transposed from the practice of sodomy onto a kind of interior androgyny.
The fuck?
A hermaphrodism of the soul.
What?
The sodomite had to be a temporary aberration. The homosexual was now a species.
Okay, I think
this
we can
guy.
stop.
This is the real guy.
No, this is
anytime
Michel Foucault was a pedophile. He was a masochist. He had an abused childhood. He was projecting a lot of shit, and he was a pedophile.
Okay,
he wanted to get rid of the age of consent.
We should probably always make a statement. Anytime someone references Foucault or any of the postmodernists, it's like, okay, we know what territory we're in. We can stop right now. There's really no point in going on. If he is referencing someone like this to make an argument, we're not going to learn anything. What he said till now has been bizarre. And I've been waiting for a point, and all he's kept saying is more stranger things.
And he won't make a point. He won't make a point. He won't bring any proof. He only goes on making assertions.
I really actually have no idea what this actual video is fucking on about. To be honest with you, I've really lost interest in it.
There's no way.
He's just saying because he was on the holy mountain, and the holy snake told him this and that. That is a proof for these things that we're doing right now, that they are the way they are.
We have the 10
Commandments. I got that reference.
I don't know. Is this some weird form of hypnosis? He just babbles on and hopes that some of the assertions he makes just stick with you.
So, yeah, if you guys ever studied philosophy, postmodernism is a elective for the sake of saying this is a member of history, that people studied this or brought it about, but it's never taken seriously, at least from the schools that I've been to. I guess you could study this in sociology because this, again, was a movement, but it's never a focus. It's never a discipline. It's just a thing. So people who reference this guy, it's the same thing when we sort of talk about Ayn Rand. Like, she wrote some books, and they're fictitious. But we understand her philosophy because surrounding her philosophy was her personal life, which was a joke. So we always sort of laugh at these people. Foucault his whole thing was a joke. And we never took it seriously anytime someone brings it up. So anytime I see something like this, I don't care what books he read. I don't care what art he's trying to describe or feminist movement or whatever. It's always a joke. So I always allow people to say what they want. Say, oh, Foucault said this or did that. It's like, that's great, but you're not going to go anywhere with me with an argument by him. So,
yeah, the sad thing is that is your stance, and I agree with that stance. But the sad thing is You go into media science, you hear Foucault. You go into philosophy here in Germany, you hear Foucault. Sociology, you hear Foucault.
Yeah.
Any of these studies, bullshit things, indoctrination schools, you hear Foucault.
Like queer theory.
No. Wisp. I think that's a misunderstanding. You actually hear fuck all. So
I don't fucking care. This guy's. I don't fucking care how this pedo's name is spoken.
That's not how. Oh, Wisp, one day I'm going to teach you my level of humor, and you will get one. Of
I
my
don't have
jokes
enough
on these days.
respect before this pedo to give a shit off about how his name's correctly pronounced.
No.
He's already
God,
dead. Okay? He's already dead. He already died of AIDS. Okay, it's fine.
He should die again.
Yeah, which he, by the way, thought was a social construct and an invention.
somehow Foucault has returned.
Somehow Foucault makes.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not fucking kidding you. He believed AIDS HIV was a social construct, and then he died from it. Oh, couldn't construct it away, huh? Like my dysphoria, huh?
He's literally said homosexual was now a species. So I've really only heard him mentioned once or twice.
These people are pseudo-intellectuals. Foucault's a pseudo-intellectual. Engels is a pseudo-intellectual. Marx is a pseudo-intellectual. These are not real intellectuals. This is all bullshit.
They're just. I assume that. To be honest with you, it just sounds like they're all insane lunatics who happen to wear a nice suit and glasses.
They're the people. They're the preachers on the marketplace of the Middle Eastern towns, the old ones, in ancient times, who speak all the nonsense they make up in order to gain a following,
patching it through,
and maybe then thereby affect laws. They just want their personal cults to gain power and shape society that way. None of what these people say makes sense. They just want the things that they like to happen. In that sense, you can say, okay, yeah, but then how are they different from any other activists? They are not honest people. When you have some in your town, you have some disgruntled citizens that have a legitimate grievance, like the fucking potholes in their street, and they lobby for that fucking pothole gets fixed, or that they can keep the old alley trees in their street, that they don't get mowed down. Yeah, those people have legitimate grievances, and they lobby for that, and they usually can, or they very easily can have arguments that make sense and language that makes sense. What people like Foucault do, look at this fucking sentence. This is not a sentence that makes sense in any human capacity, any human language.
I really don't want to keep looking at this sentence because it's kind of
and all his fucking books are like this. It's pages upon pages of this drivel.
Like, it's so bizarre because, like, trust me, I live in Northern Ireland. Okay, so I know homophobes. Okay, so nobody.
Like, of course I know them. Yeah. He's me.
Homophobes never. They wouldn't even say this. They wouldn't even say homosexual is a species. Like, they don't even say, like, they wouldn't even say that. Even the people who hate them the most wouldn't even say that.
He wants to elevate himself at the same time as he tries to explain this and how pathetic and what a victim he is. He wants to elevate himself.
This guy thinks he's fucking Magneto. He thinks he's like.
I don't remember which narcissistic style this is, but but there is a narcissistic style that I think it's self-righteous sometimes, that manages to at the same time play himself off as the victim and the special hero or something, the super special thing, the venerable thing at the same time. And I think this is what he's doing here. He's trying to be victim and the amazing thing at the same time. This is wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm over-interpreting, I don't know. I've had a bit of room here. Call me into question. But this
to be honest with you, this whole video it started off badly.
It's essentially what this guy, Cypher's his name, did was the same bullshit that Foucault is doing here. Foucault is using strange language. He's using words that do not fit, and he's making assertions upon assertions upon assertions without any proof, without any substance. It's the same style.
Gay prostitution in the Roman Empire to slaves being fucked to then mammals and now Foucault, and I'm just like, I don't.
We've come full circle because he started talking at the start. He was talking about pederasty. So.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like that's
Ironically,
we've done the hero's journey. It's come full circle.
The hero's journey.
Plato.
We've done the pedo's journey.
I wish we would have actually kept talking about Plato or something about Greek philosophy or actual philosophy.
Yeah.
That would have been great, but
no, we got to Foucault, and it's just like, I guess you've chosen death
in the chat. Foucault is nothing. It's just Foucault is just word salad. You read one of his books, you've seen them all. It's word salad.
Foucault is just fuck all. He literally is just fuck all.
Well, anytime you come across a deconstructionist, it's kind of pointless because all they're going to do is take something apart for the sake of it, and you're sitting there going, "That's not helping anyone. You're not doing anything."
Yeah, and now what? And deconstruction isn't even good most of the time.
I just
At least so that's my subjective view.
I'll be honest, right? I am not the brightest person when it comes to all this stuff, which is why I do actually try to let a Wisp or a Smord or people like that talk. But even I can see how through this is like, wow, this is just like crappy word salad that means nothing.
Yeah,
I'm not smart enough to make sense of this.
Yeah, no, but you understand what you're on about.
No one is smart enough to understand this. Which, by the way,
no,
is,
but as
is
like,
a
you
cult
know,
method.
you know a bit, you know. Yeah, but you know. Hey, at least Shiroi, the Sleed follow in Discord got my joke. Thank you. Don't worry about
look,
it.
this is also one of the things that how cults operate. They have this weird language and weird gospel, and the cult will not say, this may be nonsense, or I don't understand this. Or this looks contradictory. Yeah, but, they will rather say that, I have not yet understood this. I need to study it more until I do. And that's what happens in these leftist circles.
I need to go to university to go clear. I mean, get a degree.
Yeah. I would just say in the illustrious words of Adam Friended, be a neo, not a cipher.
You know, I think there actually wasn't a hell until Foucault died, and then he's just such scum that hell just materialized. Like he's just such scum hell that it just willed itself into existence.
No. You mean he constructed hell?
He constructed it.
Oh dear. Are we watching any more of it?
No. We're gonna call it a night. Thank you, everyone. That was
thank God.
3 hours.
My brain is just slowly. Just like,
be a neo, not a cipher.
Yes.
All right. Here's Mike Testa. Thank you, Mike. This man deserves the Prometheus treatment pronto. Oh, well, that implies that his liver keeps getting rebuilt, but. I don't know.
But he didn't bring us fire. He didn't bring us enlightenment. He didn't bring us freedom. He didn't bring us science. He's not Prometheus.
Yeah.
But he can get the treatment.
Just the treatment's fine. Taker 610. Smudomites are long-suffering Smudcast fans. What?
You've committed smudomy.
Smudomy. Oh God.
We're gonna just We're gonna destroy Smudum and Gomorrah.
Oh boy. Well, hey, that was kind of depressing. I was hoping for some philosophy. We got Foucault. But,
yeah. Why does it always end with Foucault?
I don't know.
Foucault.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. hopefully the list will be smaller. I could add some new videos to it.
Who suggested this video?
Oh God, do a
Who
query.
suggested this video? Because I'm gonna go back into the suggestion list, find this video.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, I'm gonna
Find it.
I'm gonna fuck them
There
up.
you go.
I'm gonna find them.
All right, guys. Thank you. Good evening. Keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going. And we're going to talk to you tomorrow because I'm sure we'll have another one that will be less politics, I think. Hope and pray.
You hope.
Yeah. And maybe less sex. That's probably impossible, but yeah.
Do you know something? I'd like one video that didn't bring up sex all the time.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be nice.
See, you say that, and then it's just going to be race. And then it's just going to be...
Yeah, it's either sex or racism or,
Race. Sexual
politics.
racism or racist sexuality. Oh my god. No.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Ultimate Fatty, I don't know what to say to this, but do you remember the first time you practiced sodomy? No, I'm sorry.
In a sense, homosexuals are a different species because they can't reproduce to produce fertile offspring. You know?
Oh yeah, right. that's how homosexuality works.
Parasitized women, yeah.
Yeah, in a sense.
I just
Paul, I found it.
Pardon?
It's Ziggy 2277.
Ziggy 2277. If I find you, if I ever find you,
Okay.
put me through 3 hours.
I'll say it one last time. Be a Neo, not a cipher.
All right.
Be a Neo, not a Ziggy to whatever is.
All right. Good night, folks. Bye-bye.